Greetings Mavericks and new viewers. Tonight, direct and live. From the Maverick News Network. World Studios. This is Maverick News with Rick Walker.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Maverick News Channel. Hello, Maverick family. It is a very smoky Thursday, July 16th, 2026. I've never seen it so smoky. How about you? How smoky is it where you are? I heard somebody say today that where I live, if you are outside for the day, it's the equivalent of smoking 20 cigarettes. Don't know if that's true. Clearly anecdotal. Could be true, though. I'll tell you, when I'm out walking around in it, this smoke from the wildfires here in Canada, you can feel it in your lungs. It's noxious. There's a good word for tonight, noxious. What else do we have going on? Well, we have Mark Carney saying, well, that the deal on the bridge isn't exactly what has been reported widely in the media, that it isn't such a bad deal after all. We'll have to judge for ourselves. We'll get you the latest comments from him tonight, and also a new deal being struck for Canada to produce even more military vehicles. So good for the economy, maybe good for defense, but maybe bad for peace. I don't know. It depends on how you use that stuff. What else do we have tonight? Donald Trump, of course. This is the big one, the big story that I should have mentioned. Well, I think the wildfires is actually a bigger story, especially because of the international fallout and ramifications. But Trump will speak live tonight. He'll address the nation on the issue of election fraud. It isn't exactly clear. We're not positive. We don't know exactly what he's going to say, but we're told it will be a bombshell or a series of bombshells with much speculation, informed speculation, that he's going to revisit the 2020 election issue and claim that it was stolen, that it was rigged. And he's going to bring receipts. And I don't know what new information he'll actually bring forward, but I don't know. We will give you all the preview info on that, and then we'll carry the address live tonight as the president addresses the nation and this ongoing recycled issue, which I think some people honestly are getting a little tired of at this point. But maybe he has something new. Maybe it is information that will move this forward. One can hope, but it won't be just a rehash of everything that has come. A new hospital being built in Windsor, Ontario. So there's all that. Caroline Levitt's back. Press secretary. The new mom, first day back on the job, and we'll go visit with her when we come back on the other side of this.
We are the Mavericks. Welcome to the Matrix, baby. Hope you like the view. We are the Mavericks. The world is watching. We are the Mavericks.
We will get to the election fraud stuff. We'll talk about what's going on in Iran, what's going on in Ukraine as well, but we'll leave that for later in the broadcast. No new attacks from the U.S. on Iran. It looks like things have settled down a little bit for the moment after 5 straight days and nights of destruction, Armageddon, whatever descriptor you want to overlay onto that. But we really need to begin, I think, the broadcast tonight talking about these wildfires, more than 850 active wildfires burning from coast to coast in Canada, scorching more than 900,000 hectares of land. But right now, the epicenter of the emergency is right here in my home province of Ontario, where flames are ripping through remote communities, forcing desperate evacuations and sending thick, choking smoke drifting hundreds of kilometers south into our cities and even across the border into the United States, where we have something of an international incident going on. It isn't just a simple matter of trees and forests burning. It's now become a very political thing, and even lending itself to the whole 51st state issue. And it is a nasty, nasty, nasty situation. Downtown Cleveland. We'll start there. We won't show you the wildfire stuff immediately here. We'll show you the effect of the Canadian wildfires on the U.S. side of the border. It's going that far and further. Cleveland. The fog from the smoke. It's like, is this smog? I don't know what you call this exactly. It's smoke. Smoky haze. And it is nasty, and people are breathing that in. Pretty nasty, man. I'll tell you, you can feel it in your lungs. And here's an aerial shot. This looks like clouds, but no, this is not clouds. This is billowing smoke from the forest fires below. Incredible. That is environmental disaster. It's bad for the air. It's ripping through a very valuable and natural resource.
It looks like
Total destruction, burning up everything in its path, including homes, communities, forcing evacuations in many places tonight. Much speculation and even conspiracy theories circulating on what it is really about. That, of course, is over Ontario. And this is a still image from the Mackinac Bridge. Again, just, it looks like fog, but that is smoke. Reducing visibility. It's awful. I only ever saw this really start about 3 years ago in Canada. As far as the like smoke, we always have had wildfires, but for the smoke to be drifting down this far south like this, I've never seen this. First time, what was it, about 3 or 4 years ago, was the first of this, and it has been happening every year since. And I have some video here, even locally, to share with you. I'm going to take you for a little stroll right now. Let's go for a walk with Cosmo, the freedom dog. Free dog. And we'll give you a bird's eye view or dog's eye view of the smoke here in my hometown. So I don't know if you can really see this, but it is smoky. It's hazy here, and I honestly have never seen it so bad as it has been today. It's pretty nasty out here. It's not as bad right now as it was earlier. As you can see, the sun still beating through the smoke, but it is pretty toxic, and you can feel it in your lungs. You can really smell it. And yeah, it is clearly not good for you. Not healthy at all. In my lifetime, I've never seen anything like this until just a few years ago. It started. But this year, just these past few days, have been the worst ever, by far. We had a few days last year where you could see smoke here, but not like this. This is nasty. No doubt about it. And as you see, the sun trying to break through, and it is. And it is probably half as opaque now as it was earlier. Smoke in the air, and you can smell it, and you can feel it in your lungs. Yeah, it is awful. And I've been coughing like I don't normally cough, and it has been making me cough. Especially at night, I notice it when it seems to be like less severe, but it probably isn't. You just likely can't see it as much. Now, because it's crossing the border, we're getting kickback from U.S. politicians, including Senator Bernie Moreno of Ohio, filing sanctions legislation against Canadian officials that he says are responsible for massive wildfire smoke, putting millions of Americans' health at risk. He says he'll be introducing this bill next week to sanction Canada and the responsible Canadian government officials for this atrocity. He's not the only one talking like this. I don't know if this is, I don't know. I don't think this is this kind of rhetoric. I don't know that it's so helpful. It's to suggest that the Canadian government and provincial governments have been reckless, careless, have not been doing something properly, haven't been mitigating the risk, I guess. And more than that, we have some U.S. politicians suggesting that maybe they take matters into their own hands, come up here and do whatever, I guess, fight the fires. Or I think they're actually talking about taking control of the forestry resources up here so that they can do whatever they need to do to prevent these forest fires through proper forest management. Why does this make me nervous, especially with all this 51st state talk? Here's Moreno.
Tall buildings, but the smell of the smoke is definitely something you won't miss. It's intense. I've seen some people coughing as they walk through the downtown, not seeing a lot of people wearing masks, but others are telling me they didn't even know the smoke was moving into the area today.
I didn't smell it on the bus, but then as soon as I got down again, the same smell. And this is just like a foggy thing. I didn't know what that, I thought it was a fog, but I don't know if it's the smoke. Yeah. But it smells really bad.
The Midwest and the Northeast are expected to see some of the thickest smoke today, with almost 900 active wildfires burning across Canada right now. That wind pushing that smoke into the area here. This is what it looked like as a train crew moved through northern Ontario, with flames pushing right up against the train car before the crew was safely evacuated. And of course, now we have these warnings about unhealthy air conditions, actually the worst air quality that people are going to be breathing in years. These warnings are stretching stretching from Minnesota to New Hampshire and Cape Cod, and they also impact some major cities along the I-95 corridor like New York, Boston, Philadelphia, Baltimore, and D.C. And the fire danger isn't just in Canada. Northeastern Minnesota, thousands of campers were told to leave the campgrounds in the Superior National Forest as wildfires forced evacuations across the region there. Now, the smoke is expected to drift south.
Yeah, south, all the way here to southern Ontario and Detroit and Cleveland and points beyond, I think, New York, New Jersey. You want to take a look down there? Here's a shot coming into an airport in New York. And it just, again, looks like fog, haze. Even in the worst days of the smog era, with smog drifting into Ontario, really from the Ohio Valley back in the day, I used to see it in the mornings when I was commuting to Chatham and Windsor from London years ago, and you could see it coming in over Lake Erie and then across the farmland, and it was never as bad as this. This is admittedly it's just noxious. I understand the concerns, but I mean, the U.S. has its share of wildfires too, more than its share. Look what happened out in California and L.A. And then, of course, Trump pointing the finger of blame in a very political way. That whole thing out there, that turned politically nasty too, didn't it? Yeah. Here's Detroit now having the worst air quality of any major city in the world, or so they claim. It's not really a title that I wouldn't think a city would want to claim it, but there seems to be some sort of a weird competition going on now. Our air quality is worse than your air quality. You can see this animated map. And I don't know, I don't have a legend here, so I can't really tell you what all those colors mean, other than to tell you that it suggests that it's bad and it's got movement. So it's a good graphic to put up for video. Bottom line is Detroit is getting what we have right here and maybe worse. And this is actually a map. You can see that, there's London in southern Ontario and Detroit at the bottom end where Windsor is situated as well. I'm located about halfway between the two, and that puts us smack dab in the middle of this gigantic smoke cloud that is engulfing this part of North America tonight, because Canada is literally, well, it's like on fire, dude and dudettes. And here you can see all the wildfires, 800 and some across Canada now. What, 100 and how many is it? 160, I think, in Ontario alone, did I say? 850 across the country, 180, sorry. 130 in Ontario alone, and 136 of those in the Northwest region. 63 of them now burning out of control in Ontario. Another 44 fires are active in the Northeast. 9 of those also out of control. Between yesterday and the day before, crews discovered 8 new fires in each region. And so far this year, Ontario has recorded 483 wildfires, well above last year's 351 and the 10-year average of about 320. I'm getting binged. I don't think it's anything important. Several communities have been ordered to evacuate, as I indicated earlier, including Armstrong, where we saw that train yesterday rolling through the forest fire. That was just like something out of a Hollywood film. Lac La Croix First Nation, White Sand First Nation, Gull Bay First Nation, Lac de Mille Lac First Nation. The province says its focus remains on protecting people, firefighters, critical infrastructure, jumping on new fires where possible. Doug Ford, Premier of Ontario, today in Windsor. He was there to announce the construction or highlight the construction of a new hospital in the city. But also, while there, of course, addressed the wildfire issue. We have the video. Off to Windsor we go, where the air quality is also pretty toxic. Here's some hot air. Directly from the Premier himself, contributing to global warming.
Well, first of all, I just want to thank everyone. When I walked in the room, I thought, wow, look at the amount of people, and every single person, contributed. And I got to tell you, Anthony and Andrew, you were champions. You've been champions right from day one, along with the mayor and the ward and all the mayors and all the elected officials. Thank you for everything you're doing. But I'm going to get to the rest of the conversation in a minute, folks. But I want to begin talking about the wildfires here. I want to acknowledge and thank the emergency responders. And that includes over 150 fire crews. Those are huge numbers that are on the ground right now as we speak and throughout the night, fighting to protect northern communities from the ongoing forest fires. You know, it's not just the firefighters, they're on the front line, but it's the police officers, it's the OPP, it's the Canadian Armed Forces that are up there that actually helped rescue a bunch of campers from YMCA that were on the lake and with conjunction with the OPP. But there is good news. There's no fatalities. Because of the amazing work that our first responders, be it the paramedics and firefighters and OPP and our military, there's been no fatalities, which is pretty remarkable considering the size of these fires. And I always say our government will not spare an expense, not one single penny. We will spend whatever it takes to support getting them the support and the resources they need to keep people safe. And just to give you an idea, I don't got to get political, but they're out there, social media, so on and so forth, underfund. We'd never underfund our firefighters, ever, never, ever. We've more than doubled the annual base funding, folks, for emergency firefighting. When I came into office, it was $70 million. It's up over $150 million. But if you include the base funding and include firefighters, the aircraft and equipment are in place before fire season begins. So we can respond immediately when fires break out. We know every year, no matter if it's flooding or fire, we're prepared. Fire seasons vary significantly, as you know, from year to year, no matter if it's in Ontario or across the country or in our south of the border. So while our base budget might be $150 million, every year we spend significantly more. If you add up everything, it's well in excess, just on a overall budget, over $1.5 billion. But for instance, last year it was $271 million on wildland fire response alone. And since 2018, we spent over $1.5 billion on wildland firefighting. But our government will continue to spare no expense to protect the people and the communities. Ahead of the fire season, We added over 68 new permanent positions, building on the 100 permanent positions we added last year. We also increased, and this is so important, folks, we increased compensation for critical frontline staff, including wildland firefighters, pilots, and aircraft maintenance engineers, to recruit and retain the skilled professionals who keep Ontario safe. This is another critical part that isn't part of base funding, but it's actually 1,000% more increase in funding. We've invested over $650 million to purchase 5 new helicopters and 6 new water bombers. Those are absolutely critical, and we'll continue. I'm going to talk to the rest of the premiers. We're heading out to the Confederation meeting in PEI next week. But we need support from the federal government to buy fire bombers. By the way, the military is phenomenal, but they just do rescue. They don't have the big water bombers, and so we need the water bombers that can be deployed anywhere in our country. And we'll continue to support all the communities that have been forced to evacuate because of these terrible fires. We have also requested that the federal government, including the Canadian Armed Forces, which are incredible people, be prepared to rapidly deploy federal resources. That they deployed an incredible rescue yesterday to support evacuations when and where necessary. And I want to thank them for their support, that they've pivoted to this point. Usually you have to give them 48 hours. But it's one phone call and bang, they're on their way. I love our military. That includes their support over the last few days, supporting a search and rescue of hikers trapped near wildfires in northern Ontario. And thank God those kids were rescued. It was pretty wild scenario there. But finally, I want to acknowledge the incredible support we're receiving from across our entire country. This is what makes Canada beautiful. When everyone needs help, everyone comes in. We're getting crews from the Yukon and Alberta that are here in Ontario on the ground right now. And on behalf of everyone in our province, I just want to thank the other provinces for their support. So folks, I'll tell you, it's great to be back here. On more positive news, we're going to get through these wildfires, but on more positive news, it's great to be back in Windsor, Essex, alongside our local champions, as I gave them a shout out, PAs Liardi and Dowie, and our great mayor and warden. Thank you. I'll tell you, you call me an 800-pound gorilla. Even the warden, you're about 1/10 my size, you're an 800-pound gorilla when it comes for fighting for the hospital, for fighting for infrastructure, and Drew, you are as well. And you know, this wouldn't be this wouldn't be possible without your leadership, Kristen. I know you've been on the job just for a short period. You have big shoes to fill with David, but we have confidence. And Christina, thank you for mentioning all the donors. And yes, we have the family, Fancy family here, the Salt family, and you mentioned some others. But do you know what makes a difference? Is a person that donates the $100, the $1,000, the $2,000, that makes the difference. And the entire team at Windsor Regional Hospital, thank you. Couldn't happen without the foundation, Christina. So you're amazing. I want to thank for the dedication to the service of Windsor Essex community, making sure the region's growing population gets the world-class health care they deserve. And this wouldn't be possible without the great docs. I love our doctors, our nurses, our PSWs.
Okay, enough of the political blah, blah, blah. Yeah, they're getting a hospital, and okay, we can talk about that more maybe another day, but we right now have this wildfire issue and the Prime Minister. Well, I'll show you first of all. This is John James. I believe this is John James. Yeah, Congressman, Michigan. Haven't heard the clip. I know he was posting earlier today saying, being very critical of the Canadian government. I guess all levels of government, provincial, well, provincial and federal. Let's listen in.
I'm extremely passionate about the beauty of our state, our air and our water. We deserve to have clean air and clean water. And the Canadians lecture us about climate change. Meanwhile, they are not doing the least of what's required to manage their own forestry. And it's causing health concerns, not just summer and beauty, but health concerns. Our people who are frail, people who are young, people who are aging, people who have asthma, like my son, who struggle when the air is choked off with this smoke. We have such a small summer, yes, and we want to enjoy it, but this is also a health concern. There is more carbon emissions emitted in these Canadian wildfires each and every single year than all of the vehicles that we produce in the entire nation. And so if they want to lecture us on climate change, they should probably handle their own affairs. Among the things that I can do as governor is focus on not just MOUs that have been in place since Ronald Reagan implemented them back in 1982, but Michigan can be a leading partner to not just protect against wildfires, but prevent them. Disaster preparedness is going to be a key element for the next governor of the state of Michigan.
And it's making me nervous because, like, I think some politicians are turning it into a 51st state issue. Yeah. ABC with this. Here we go. I don't think there's any narration, just running it because I want to show you the U.S. mainstream legacy media clip. Take the blah, blah, blah from the U.S. side. Just showing you B-reel. It is. Look, it's devastating, right? And what's that costing the country? It just destroying the resource, and in some cases entire communities, as we've seen in recent years. Entire towns wiped out. Well, look at what happened in LA. So as I said earlier, the U.S. has its share of problems with wildfires too. What's causing them? I don't even want to get into it because I know that it triggers some people, and then we go off into wild, crazy places with not enough information or empirical evidence or like real evidence to address any of it. Climate change, or it's arson, it's the government trying to depopulate, like whatever. Now here I am throwing all of it out there. It's because of the drought. I don't know. It's just bad. Here's Reuters video out of Toronto. Drone video. Today. It is like a scene from a dystopian Hollywood flick, but it's real, not AI. That's what's truly super sad about it. The Prime Minister asked about it during a news conference today. What do you say to elected U.S. officials, he's asked, who are asking Canada to do more to avoid the north from these wildfires? Let's just go to this. He was giving a speech earlier today on the issue of, announcing another project to build a fleet of armored vehicles, but of course asked about other issues as well. Gordie Howe Bridge being one, and the wildfire issue another. How would he respond, or what should he say to these U.S. officials who are pointing a finger of blame directly north to Kazakhstan?
What do you say to elected officials in the U.S. who are asking Canada to do more to avoid that the north of the U.S. every year sees the smoke from the wildfires? We need a contribution from the Americans in the fight against climate change. And I'll give you one example. Now we're putting the emphasis on investments in clean energy. In the U.S., there are now prohibitions. They're against clean energy. For example, wind energy. That's one example. Second, Canada is maintaining its efforts globally, and the U.S. are reducing their efforts globally. So, yes, climate change is everyone's responsibility. Truly everybody, including the U.S. What do you say to elected officials in the U.S. who are asking Canada to do more to avoid that the north of the U.S. every year sees the smoke from the wildfires? We need a contribution from the Americans in the fight against climate change.
So as I say, it goes to the cause, right? The Americans, like, Canada should do something about it. Carney is climate change. You talk to somebody else, they'll say climate change is a hoax. And I don't know how in this political environment, not just the smoky environment that we're all sucking into our lungs right now, how do you get things organized enough to come up with real solutions to problems when you can't get people focused and coordinated to tackle an objective? And in this respect, I think Carney is right in that, the Americans just want to keep doing what they're doing. Just drill from our oil, burn that. I think you're looking now at these AI data centers, which are going to be giant energy sponges. They're going to suck up more energy than I think anybody can imagine. I would say, based on everything that's going on, you're going to see total energy consumption nationally probably double, maybe triple in aggregate by the time they're done building these things. And if they even do finish building them, they want to build them everywhere. They are building them everywhere, but that's, sort of a sidebar reality to this whole thing. Talking about climate change, well, if you really believe that that is the issue, then you want to stop burning non-renewable resources like oil, coal, wood. They burn wood chips too in these energy plants. It all contributes to effluent, whether you believe it results in climate change or not. I don't even really want to go down this road because nobody can agree on anything. All I know is it's noxious out there right now. And I suck in some air and I'm sucking in smoke right now. And I don't smoke. Now that might make Tucker Carlson really happy because, he thinks it's smoking is good for you. And and Joe Rogan just did a podcast about the health benefits of smoking. So I guess suck it up, buttercups. And enjoy the healthful inhalations.
Blah, blah, blah.
Blah, blah, blah.
Blah, 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 blah.
Blah blah blah. Blah blah blah. Blah blah blah. Blah blah
blah blah blah blah blah blah blah blah blah blah blah blah blah blah blah
blah blah blah. Blah blah blah.
Maverick News. No blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. So questions mounting about whether enough has been done or was done to prepare for what we're dealing with right now. Ontario's Emergency Preparedness Minister, Jill Dunlop, has formally asked the federal government to cut the usual 48-hour response time for aircraft to 24 hours or less. She has sent a letter to her federal counterpart urging heightened readiness, and Premier Doug Ford, prior to his comments in Windsor, which we just shared with you, posted on social media this morning that the province won't spare a penny, as you heard, to support firefighters, and claims he's doubling down on investments and crews and equipment. But online, a lot of criticism being leveled at Doug Ford, and his political opponents say the province isn't doing enough. Ontario Green Party leader Mike Schreiner went to a local fire department pointing out that this year's emergency forest firefighting budget sits at $150 million, even though the province spent $271 million fighting fires last year. He says that every year when the budget comes out, you see a cut. Ministry of Natural Resources pushing back on that, noting that it has actually spent $1.5 billion on emergency fire management since 2018, more than double the base budget to $150 million, hired over 170 new permanent fire personnel since 2024, making it nearly a $650 million investment in firefighting aircraft. The Premier highlighting a bunch of those numbers, trying to get out in front of the issue. But it's taking a huge human toll, too. Some First Nations, Collins First Nation, devastated by a fast-moving wildfire up there. Shinnebec Nation Grand Council Chief Linda DeBassage says homes and community buildings in that community were destroyed. Residents fled by boat as trees around their houses ignited. Community is about 210 kilometers north of Thunder Bay, accessible only by air or water. People fleeing by boat. We have video. Dramatic Real video. I, of course, had to check before we came on air tonight. I was like, this looks like AI, but no, this is the real deal. Stuff. Just the size, the magnitude of that. Oh, baby. More images coming out of Ontario tonight. And the big, like they call it the big smoke, Toronto. It is literally engulfed in smoke tonight. The worst I've ever seen it. And I say in my lifetime, but yeah, it's just, it's bad. I have never seen this until about, 3 or 4 years ago. What does that mean? It means I hadn't seen it until 3 or 4 years ago. So something has changed. I've never seen smoke down here like this. And to get it, several years in a row, something has clearly changed. I don't know what that might be. I can only see the smoke. This is the video from yesterday that went viral that we had here on Maverick News of the train going through Armstrong, Ontario.
This could potentially overtake us here. This is getting a little scary.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Okay. Yeah, this is...
Okay, y'all need to hurry up here. Like, seriously, we're encased in flames now.
You guys gotta go backwards. Go.
Hello, Jody, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you there. I'm telling them you were notching up.
Yeah, this has got to move fucking quick here. Holy crap. Oh, that's alright. This kind of burnt off, so we'll be okay now.
Yeah, it went across. Holy
yeah.
shit.
Oh yeah, look over there.
We are
you guys got a light now or what? Did you guys get that light? Oh yeah, they're clipping. Whew! That's a meat and a half, eh?
Wow. You got to be tough to live in Canada. Some people saying Toronto has the worst air quality. Other people saying Detroit. Here's a ranking. It's a competition. Who's number one? Detroit comes out on top. Live world rankings for IQ Air. I guess it must be a poll. I don't know. I don't know what it is. Air quality legend. Hazardous is purple. 518. So I guess it's an air quality index. Okay. I guess that's what it is. I don't follow this stuff every day. Why would I? But I am today. Detroit's number one. Yeah, it's by a long shot too. 518. Toronto 400, number two. Oh, they beat us again. At our own game too. I mean, we made this smoke and we don't even own it. Kind of like the bridge, I don't know why Donald Trump just doesn't put a tariff on the smoke. Problem solved. See, we're giving him stuff for free. He's just like the bridge, man. But today, Carney, while he was addressing the armored vehicle deal, asked about the Gordie Howe Bridge deal. Now, I know that, of course, Trump blocked the opening of the Gordie Howe Bridge. demanded a renegotiation of the deal that was already in place, that was supposed to take effect when it opened. Was supposed to open like last month. Canada was supposed to get 100% of all of the revenue in order to recoup $6.4 billion that Canada alone spent to build the bridge. Trump saying, no, that's a bad deal, even though Michigan ends up owning 50% of the bridge. We've been over all of this multiple times. New deal struck. Various reports coming out, information. I've shared what was given to us, in that we were told the U.S. government now, or that won't actually be the U.S. government, it'll go into a regional development fund, but 50% of the net revenue, whatever that ends up being, will go into this regional development fund. And how that money is distributed seems to be something of a question mark, but the majority of it, maybe all of it, will be spent on the U.S. side for community improvements. And some people are crying foul over that, and I certainly understand it. I think that this undermines trust. But today, Carney, I don't know if he's putting lipstick on a pig with this thing, or if he's being sincere in saying that, no, actually, the way this new deal is written isn't really the disaster that people are making it out to be, because, as I said a few nights ago, it could be that Donald Trump has just been outmaneuvered by a foxy accountant because of the definition of net versus gross. Carney saying that in this 15-year period that this deal with the Trumpster remains in effect for, that there won't actually be very much, if any, net profit anyway. That there might be some, but it might even be a negative number at that point, because the bridge in its initial phases might actually operate in a deficit, might lose money in the first few. I don't know because if it's negative profit, that means you're operating at a loss. That means there would be no money going into it, because Canada gets to recover all of its costs up front. Operational costs and the cost of even financing the debt to build the bridge. So I don't know what the fine print is, the nitty gritty on this. I don't think that deal has been released. I don't know if we'll ever actually get to see the fine print or the actual deal. But here's Carney being asked about it tonight, or earlier today, actually. And it's a hot button issue up here in Canada, not so much on the U.S. side.
Hello, sir. Nathaniel Dove from Global News. Prime Minister, we're looking for more information on the deal to open the Gordie Howe Bridge. Canada spent $6.4 billion to build it. Is the Canadian debt repayment on the bridge included as expenses before profits are split with the U.S.?
Well, let me say, first of all, that we're very pleased that the prospect of the bridge reopening later this month, or opening later this month. This is good for Canada, good for the United States, both in the short term and the long term. What we have with the agreement with the U.S. Is as follows. And let me start with what it isn't. It's not splitting the tolls of the bridge. It is an agreement for 15 years to split net revenues. Splitting of tolls, any sharing of the toll revenue won't happen until all of the debt is repaid. We will split net revenues over the course of the first 15 years, and those net revenues are after operational costs. So it's manning the toll booths, it's maintenance, it's snow removal, a series of other operational costs. We expect that after those costs, for the first few years, net revenues will be modest. In fact, we expect them to be negative, as traffic ramps up. So negative to modest in the first few years. And what's been designed is an alignment of incentives so that when the splitting begins, all of the portions that go to the U.S. government will be reinvested in economic development, regional economic development in the area, the U.S. side of the area, obviously, which is pro-cyclical. It reinforces, more traffic, higher revenues, more investment, and that's the way it moves forward. The underlying agreement that we have with Michigan remains the same. And so no sharing of tolls until all the debt is repaid. So it's a good deal for both sides. It gets things moving, and that's in the spirit of today's announcement, which is to get things moving.
Are you able to provide more information about the deal? Some sources to us and to Bloomberg and Reuters are saying it's a 50% split, I guess, once the sharing starts happening. And if this is a Canadian project, why did you have to start giving? Why did you decide to start giving some of the revenue away?
The first thing is you quoted the overall amount of the capital investment of the project, around $6.5 billion. What we're talking about is very modest relative to the size of that. Okay, that's the first thing, just to give a sense. The second is that, as I'm going to repeat myself, but I think it's an important point, that it's aligned, the incentives are aligned here, because the reinvestment in regional economic development on the Michigan side, mainly the Michigan side, that's obviously good for Michigan, but it's also good for Canada because it's going to reinforce the traffic. So we see the incentive alignment as a reasonable discussion. It's a good deal for Canada, good for the U.S., and it's great for both countries to have this bridge open, and we're looking forward to,
Is it 50%?
Thank you. Next question.
Mr. Prime Minister, Jerry Dewan from CTV News London. This region has among the highest unemployment levels of anywhere across the country. How are we looking to use this to address those concerns?
Yeah, well, my caucus colleagues from the region are here. We are very focused on exactly this issue. Part of the answer is in today's announcement. It's providing not just the scale of the investment, but also the certainty of a partnership. So longer-term certainty, which of course is going to help.
Okay, this is referencing the armored vehicle announcement today. We'll be back.
Maverick News. Expose lies and tell truth. The world is watching.
All right, T-minus how many minutes? I guess about 56 minutes. And Donnie T will be going live, addressing the nation. Why? Is it new, or is it a recycled message on election fraud? We won't know for at least 56 minutes. But we will bring it to you live right here. Election fraud. Many indications that what he's going to highlight is foreign interference from China. Caroline Leavitt, new mom, back from maternity leave, doing her thing as the White House press secretary. Where are we? There she is, right there, being asked about President's upcoming speech tonight. Let's dig into it just a little bit, give you a sense of what we maybe could possibly be seeing shortly.
Thanks for the question. Babies are the best. Okay, a question about tonight. There are a lot of Republicans in this town who very much support the SAVE Act and want to make sure, our elections are upheld, election integrity, top priority for them. But some of them are concerned that tonight's primetime address might focus on, elections of the past, relitigating them, rather than voter concerns of today. I'm wondering, can you tell us if the president tonight is going to talk about the economy? You just talked a lot about the economy and what we're seeing there. And what does the White House say to Republicans who are worried that election issues like this could actually turn off swing voters?
Well, a few things. I would encourage everyone to tune in tonight. I've seen a lot of reporting and frankly misreporting about what the president will say. I think the American people will be relieved to hear what they are hearing from the president of the United States and his commitment to transparency and the focus on the integrity of our elections tonight. I think all Republicans and Democrats should recognize this should be a nonpartisan issue. If we don't have safe and secure elections in our country, we cannot have a country. It is a vital part of our democracy, of our constitutional republic. The president will be speaking about that tonight. And in addition, at the very same time, of course, he is working on all of these economic issues that the American people have at home. I just read to you the latest inflation numbers are looking good, the best report in 6 years. The president, Republicans and Democrats and all Americans have this president to thank for the largest tax cuts in American history, which every Democrat on Capitol Hill voted against. You have this president to thank for the Trump accounts for our children and securing the future of the American dream. So this president is doing a lot, but obviously safe and secure elections are a true tenet of our constitutional republic, and the president will be speaking about that tonight. Thank you. And Ben, please.
Hey, so I'm from England. I've been following the World Cup all around, absolutely loving it. Unfortunately, we got knocked out last night, so I'd love to ask a favor. I'll skip over that.
Tough day for you today.
Yeah, it's all good though. But I want to know, so all these football fans coming to America, absolutely.
Okay. That's the spin. Leading up to more spin, more blah, blah, blah. President Trump, no doubt practicing his teleprompter skills even as we speak. ABC. Here's their take on it. He says they're saying that, well, here, I'll show you their post. President Trump is set to deliver a primetime address Thursday evening, during which he is expected to detail information that he has recently received from the Office of the Director of National Intelligence related to the 2020 election. Sources familiar with the matter tell ABC News. So their story, which I guess they're saying is something of an exclusive, Trump, it says, has long pushed debunked conspiracy theories to claim that his 2020 election loss was fraudulent. It's not immediately clear what allegations he will make as part of his speech. Sources caution Trump's plans can always change. Really? You mean he doesn't come up with a plan and sort of stick with it, or think things through and kind of dig his heels in because, of course, he's bringing us truth? You mean he just kind of wings it? Imagine that. So his plans could change, but at this point, election fraud is the topic of his 9 p.m. address. Now, maybe it'll be about, I don't know, candy floss and kids going to the Freedom 250, what is it, the Grand Prix? I don't know. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt was tight-lipped, as you just heard, about what the president would actually say in her daily briefing, besides that he will discuss protecting the integrity of our elections. Let's listen to the report, shall we?
This morning, new details about the primetime address President Trump is set to deliver tonight.
It's really, really big news. It doesn't get bigger, because without free and fair elections, you don't have a country.
Sources tell Reuters the speech is expected to reveal intelligence claiming that China had the ability to interfere in the 2020 presidential election, and that Beijing may have gained access to U.S. voter data. The White House overnight not commenting. An intelligence community assessment back in 2021 found no indication any foreign actor altered the 2020 vote. Trump's address tonight comes a day after his nominee for National Intelligence Director, Jay Clayton, faced a confirmation hearing on Capitol Hill and refused to say outright that Joe Biden won the 2020 election.
Just asking a really simple question. Who won the 2020 election?
As I said to you, we went through our processes, and Joe Biden became the president of the United States.
Answer the question. Who won the 2020 election?
I have answered the question.
Answer it. What is your answer?
I've given you my answer.
What is your answer? Isn't it humiliating to be unable to answer this question, to have to indulge the president's delusions?
Also on Capitol Hill, the president's attorney general nominee, Todd Blanche, who previously served as Trump's personal attorney, was grilled by lawmakers from both parties.
Are you and President Trump friends?
I'm his lawyer, was his lawyer, and now I'm the deputy attorney general.
A single Republican no vote could sink Blanche's nomination. Blanche also faced survivors of sex offender Jeffrey Epstein in the hearing room, as Democrats pressed Blanche to meet with them and to answer for the botched file release that exposed survivors' personal information.
Any mistake that we made should not have been made.
Karen Hua, ABC News, Washington.
What's the truth? Does it even matter? So I think that's the problem. Some people don't think it matters. It's okay to lie. The end justifies the means. It's bad. If you don't know if an election was fraudulent or legitimate, then you don't have a country. So who's the villain here? Who's lying? Who's telling the truth? Is everybody lying? We don't even know. I know I don't trust President Trump anymore because he lies about so many things. He exaggerates. Just as a matter of routine. Political rhetoric, just ramping it up. I posted on the Maverick News X account overnight this about the Iran war. He's not the only one. I mean, we're just living in this post-truth era. And it's because of him, largely. It's also about the technology. See if I can find you the clip. Probably easier if I just pull it back up again. So this was the statement from Iran yesterday. And the problem is, of course, it's a mix of things. It's just outright lying. It's the use of artificial intelligence, AI videos, recycled, repurposed videos, improperly labeled and presented to people with titles and descriptions on social media posts that suggested something that it isn't. Suggestive titles designed to kind of screw with people's minds. Well, now the other thing that we're running into is, and this is the reason I actually posted this, is you're getting a mix of AI and reality. So in this post from yesterday, an Iranian military spokesperson man in this video warns the U.S. over the Strait of Hormuz, saying that they threaten severe retaliation if the U.S. hits Iranian infrastructure, calling the strait a red line. Now, the United States also has been, over the past few days, striking civilian infrastructure, and that includes desalination plants. If you don't know what I mean when I say that, that's a water treatment plant where they take salt water, which you can't drink. They remove the salt and treat the water so that it's potable, so that people can consume it, right? And in the Middle East, that's probably more valuable than oil, really, because that is what keeps people alive. You need water for all kinds of things, as we all know. It's the one of the building blocks of life. So The thing is, though, as this is posted online, this is a mix of reality and AI. The video is fake, which throws it into question for me because I immediately said, I don't know if that's real, but the message is real. And this is a real person, but it's the AI agent. So here's this fake AI generated video of a real Iranian spokesperson, spokesman, whatever. If you don't want me to be politically correct, I have to say man. And if you want me to be politically correct, I have to say person. And I'm tired of it all. So it's just the Iranian dude, okay? So the Iranian dude ain't real. He's an AI agent. But the message is real. Now, why would they do it? Probably because they don't want to do anything that might give away the guy's location because Trump will nuke him. So security would be one reason. Efficiency, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, but the message did come from the Iranian government. But this just clouds things even further. So now what we're dealing with is, and I said this a couple of years ago, I said, as AI comes online, we're going to get to the point where you'll have world leaders, images and videos being generated of world leaders, presidents, prime ministers, ultra dictators, or whatever, making statements. The problem is that anybody can end up making these things and then put words in the mouths of these leaders to make them say anything that these people want. It screws with people's minds and it puts people at risk. In fact, we've seen in Canada, just over the past couple of weeks, I believe one woman in Canada lost something like $900,000 because she believed some sort of a scam ad that had Mark Carney depicted online. And in this video, she thought it was really Mark Carney and responded to the ad and got taken for about $900,000. There was another one just a couple of days ago, another elderly woman also scammed because of a Mark Carney fake AI video. She lost about $80,000. This is devastating for someone like, that just can destroy their golden years. What is Trump saying? This is what the golden era? Well, that's screwing people out of their retirement. That's how dangerous it is. But I think that the danger is even greater than that, because when you're talking about politics and wars, you can convince people that the president said this or the prime minister of this country said that, and it isn't even true. And I've seen the propaganda, even with the Ukraine war. There was the one video that came out after Zelensky got the dressing down from J.D. Vance in the Oval Office, and it was doctored. And I don't know if I addressed it here on the program the one night where they made it look like Zelensky had said, F you, mumbled it kind of under his breath to J.D. Vance. And it wasn't true. I might be getting the detail just a little bit wrong on that at this point. But the point is they were putting words into Zelensky's mouth to discredit him. And that, of course, coming from Russian propagandists who put it online. And then it was amplified and mass distributed by that information warfare network. And it wasn't true at all. But there's all kinds of propaganda like that. And a lot of Zelensky, direct, because it's an actual real, like, hot war with an information war, undercurrent, and they don't care because it's a war. So they'll do anything. And the first casualty of war is truth. But a lot of people just believe this crap. They just, and I totally get it, because how can you tell the difference? This looks very real, but it isn't real, but it is real, but it isn't, but it is. The message is real, but the guy is fake, and now you can't tell. Is Trump telling the truth? Is he exaggerating? He's throwing stats out every day. They flood the zone with information, confusing the hell out of everybody. Elon Musk controls X. He controls the algorithms. He puts messages in front of you that you think you're choosing yourself and you're not. And then he's got access to every, beyond borders. The X and the influence of Elon Musk, it just goes like across the globe. He's stated himself that he has the ability to sway it, if not influence, but maybe some of it's just performative. But to take that kind of money and then talk about election integrity, they're buying the presidency. And you can buy it too right now if you have the money. He's selling the presidency every day. What the hell difference does it make if you have... And I'm editorializing, but what difference does it make if you have elections that are valid if the guy who gets in there then just turns around and slaps tariffs on countries or sanctions or non-tariff barriers to damage a country's economy until someone from the country shows up at the Oval Office with, I don't know, some super booby prize. Here, President Trump, here's a gold booby prize. And you give that to him and he goes, well, thank you very much. Now I can put it on my mantle and add to my collection of gold booby prizes over here because I didn't get the Nobel Peace Prize. So double, triple sanctions and tariffs on them. But you're exempt. Or, maybe it's just I think even more to the point is he controls the tariffs. So you have the oligarchs, the big corporations crawling to him on their hands and knees saying, please, President Trump, can you please exempt my industry from the tariffs so that we don't have to pay such high prices for the inputs on the products that we're producing? Please, President Trump, here's a gold booby prize. Oh, I like the gold booby prize. It's a booby prize the likes of which the world has never seen before. Look at my booby prize. And he loves it because it's all about stroking his ego, and he needs the gold booby prize to eventually put in his presidential library after he croaks because he eats too many Mickey D Big Macs and cheeseburgers and way too many fries and sucks back way too many Diet Cokes. But Rick, you have TDS. It's not a thing, okay? Trump derangement syndrome. It's not actually a medical condition. It's a psychological disorder. And if you use that as a shield, you're the one. You are the one who has no argument and have decided to just go through life blind as a member of whatever the hell this Trump MAGA 2.0 thing is. Somebody said to me, but Rick, you used to think he was okay. And yeah, that was true, because during Trump 1.0, he didn't do all of this crap. He was deregulating things. He was cutting red tape, making it easier for businesses to operate less encumbered by government, taking, some of the shackles off so that they could operate more freely and more efficiently. It was creating more employment, at least for the first year and a half or so. It seemed to be untethering the U.S. economy, and there was growth, and everybody was benefiting from it. He was drill, baby, drill. He was producing more oil. As a result, even here in Canada, there were economic spin-off benefits just down the road here in places like Wallaceburg, Ontario. Tool and die shops were humming along. Production was ramping up because they were tooling, making things, producing things for the oil and gas industry so that they could drill. Heavy industry manufacturing, precision machining, making parts for drilling rigs, and they're shipping all that stuff out to various places all over the place as the oil and gas industry began to pick up, and they had something of a boom going on in the States. We were benefiting back and forth, and there was an actual deal. Kuzma, USMCA trade deal that Trump signed off on. And I think all of the crazy crap in his head, a lot of that was just being managed because he had some sane people around him who kind of had a leash on him to prevent him from going completely freaking insane and doing completely insane things. Mike Pence being one of them. He was always out there taking care of the damage control needed cleanup on aisle 4 because Trump took a big dump. Now there goes Mike Pence. He's got to go scoop it up and clean it. He was like, it was constant. I felt sorry for the poor guy. Frankly, I thought, well, he's a good guy for Trump to have because now he can walk around acting like the bombastic buffoon that he normally is and say crazy things. And maybe that's a political advantage because he's not the same as everybody else. He just speaks his mind. He doesn't even care. He just says it out loud. He says what everybody's thinking. Oh, well, that's great. But at least he had Mike Pence to come in and deal with the damage control afterward. While he's over there setting more fires, Mike Pence is over there putting them out. But now look what's happened. It's gotten so bad that he's just blasted so much crap out of his big yap that it set the frickin' world on fire, literally. And now we're all sitting around sucking it all in. And tonight at 9 o'clock, the president of the United States is going to heat up the world even more and maybe set the entire frickin' world, I don't know, into a blazing inferno as he casts more doubt on the election integrity, like the integrity of U.S. elections. That in itself, if he's, what is he hoping to accomplish here? Even if this literally can drop a bomb on the United States, maybe even plunge it into in a worst case scenario, a civil war or more, maybe even maybe that's the goddamn goal. I don't know, but I'll tell you this. I hope tonight, in a half hour's time, that this crazy man in the White House, if he's going to make these kind of allegations, if he's going to make these kind of accusations, he better damn well bring the goddamn real receipts this time, because this is not good for America. It is not good for Canada. It is not good for the world. The world needs a stable United States because it is the world's most powerful country, at least for the moment. It may not continue to be, though, because this guy is doing so much to destabilize everything. It's chaotic. It's irresponsible. And it better be so real that it puts to rest the questions. If it doesn't do that, it's not worth bringing up because it will only make things worse. The objective should be to serve the people, to do what's best for the country and the world. And there's only one way to do that, damn it. That's to tell the goddamn truth and back it up with proof. Unequivocal, undeniable truth beyond a shadow of a doubt. If he doesn't do that tonight, then this will just be an exercise in political navel gazing. It'll just contribute to the confusion, the division, the chaos, the lie.
Welcome to the Matrix. chasing the high. Everything's fake, psychedelic sky. They said you're free, that's the game. Different screen, always the same. You are what you believe, that's the key. Lock your mind, lose reality. If you believe it, it comes alive. Truth gets buried, nobody survives. The world is watching, brains are washing. Living the lie, glazed over eyes, hypnotized, zombified. Living the lie, no way to hide, truth denied. Switch it off, take back your mind. Living the lie. Same old story, louder now. Truth gets lost inside the crowd. Think you're awake, it's in your head. Different cage, dream is dead. The world is watching, brains are washing. Living the lie, glazed over eyes, hypnotized, zombified. Living the lie, no way to hide, truth denied. Switch it off, take back your mind. Living the lie. Break it down, shut it out, turn it off right now. Break the screen, cut the feed, take back what you need. Living the lie, glazed over eyes, hypnotized, zombified. Living the lie, too tired to fight. Wake up now, take it back tonight. Living the lie, living the lie. No more. Exit the matrix.
So much about the United States, it turns out, is a damn lie. Maybe the world, but especially the United States. You know, it was about a year ago, we did a story about the Walking Tall Festival. Remember the Walking Tall movie? Maybe not. It was a huge thing in the 70s, and the story of Buford Pusser. It was a movie based on the true story of Buford Pusser. This one sticks with me so much because when I was a kid, the movie had an impact on me. Incredibly violent story about this sheriff's wife who was murdered. He said he was shot up at the same time. Down in Tennessee, Adamsville. So in the movie, there were sequels, and it turned into a huge Hollywood franchise, especially in the 70s, moving into the 80s. Shown on TV, a huge debut. I remember watching it, riveted the violence, probably scarred me for life, but anyway, I am what I am. They portrayed him as a huge hero because, he's said he got shot and everything there too. And so they have this big festival down there every May. So they did it again this year, 38th annual. It went on. And through my life, I bought the story. I believed that Buford Pusser was a hero, as did the rest of America, or at least a lot of Americans, but not so some of the people who live in the community right there. Many people questioned and were skeptical. And then investigators digging into it again, they basically concluded that he was actually the one who killed his wife. And so we did stories on it. And I spoke to the former president of the Buford Pusser fan club. You know, what a letdown for America. But here's the thing. It's like, how disrespectful is it to the deceased? How disrespectful is it to the victim, the woman who was murdered, if this whole thing has been a lie for all of these years, and then the investigation comes up, the reinvestigation, and using new forensic tools, they essentially proved that it was Buford Pusser, who's no longer with us anymore either. Very strange story, but they proved that he's the one who actually murdered his wife. It wasn't these people who were targeting him and his wife caught in the crossfire. It was all BS. They still put the festival on, and they still tell the fake story because the local community has come to depend on the festival. It's a revenue generator, huge tourism draw, because the movies were made, and the TV appearances, and the legend of the hero, the history and the legend, the Buford Pusser Home and Museum, Law Enforcement Museum, stands as a moment in time, as if waiting for Sheriff Buford Pusser to return home from another shift serving the public. The modest brick ranch home contains the original furnishings, photos, cars, guns, and memorabilia of the Pusser family. Buford Pusser was the subject of several major motion pictures. The Walking Tall movies tell about his life and tragic death. What a hero that guy was. Lie. The whole thing's a damn lie. They know it's a lie, but they keep on telling the lie because they still want people to come down there and spend their money to visit the museum and get told the story and attend the carnival, spend the money in the local shops and the restaurants. And I think they're kind of embarrassed about it. Now, I did do that story, and I got a good interview, and it was fair, and I feel for the people. But the truth is the truth is the truth is the truth, and they're living a lie. America continues to live that lie. But hey, the end justifies the means, right? I mean, what difference does it make at this point? I think it makes a lot of difference. A hell of a lot of difference. It's wrong. It's sick. That's America. Not all of America, but it's an element of America, and it happens too much. And then some people are like, oh, truth, what's the truth? It's every frickin' thing. False accusations, just as bad. Smearing people, just as bad. And it's never been so bad. I'm sick and tired of it. And it's never going to be the same. I don't know if we'll ever get back. People keep saying, I don't recognize my country anymore. Yeah, no shit. That's why. Fake studies, fake reports, political opportunism, lies. Lies, politics. Let's hope for something better at 9 p.m.
Maverick News. Fighting for freedom.
don't mean to single out the people in Adamsville, Tennessee. I don't. Tennessee is one, like, it is, the people are so friendly down there, I have to tell you. And I understand the position. So don't get me wrong. They're making, I guess, pragmatic decisions. Livelihoods at stake. What's, oh my God, what a terrible thing for them to have to deal with. But at the end of the day, you want to live a lie? Too many people live in a lie. Way too many people live in a lie. Some people voluntarily, willingly, others coerced into it because of politics. Anyway, truth is just a construct. 9 p.m. The Trumpster coming up. Holy crap. America. America. Okay. What's going on in the Strait of Hormuz? There's who the hell knows? I just showed you. It's AI and reality mixed together. In the past 24 hours, U.S. Central Command reporting that they've conducted multiple waves of strikes on Iranian coastal defenses, missile sites, command centers, air defense systems, primarily along the southern coast, including near Bandar Abbas. 5 straight nights of bombardment. And then counterattacks by Iran coming and hitting U.S. military assets in the Gulf regions in neighboring countries. All these actions follow the reimposition of the U.S. naval blockade on Iranian ports and come in response to the Iranian tax on commercial shipping in the waterway. Strait of Hormuz, Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps claims it has struck U.S.-linked targets now in Bahrain, Kuwait, Jordan. Unconfirmed reports of ongoing activity tonight, but no doubt there's stuff going on. Shipping traffic through the strait has slowed dramatically, even though Trump declared the strait to be completely open, but it's still well below pre-conflict or pre-war. It is a war levels. Both sides trading accusations, I guess, over who controls the Strait of Hormuz, which carries a significant portion of global oil and gas, 20%. Iran has warned of broader disruptions to energy exports, and the U.S. is insisting freedom of navigation must be protected, and Trump saying he was going to impose his own 20% toll on the Strait of Hormuz, which previously had been wide open and free for navigation for everyone. International law actually doesn't give the United States the authority to charge anything to anyone, period. But that wouldn't stop President Trump, would it? Anyway, he then, within 24 hours, as we reported here, turned around, flipped 180 degrees on it and said, no, they'll be collecting revenue in other ways from Gulf countries as sort of protection fees. So I guess it's a protection racket. It's the dumbest war ever. And he's looking for a way out or a way to finish this thing off. He always puts this confident attitude forward, but it's pretty clear this hasn't gone the way he was thinking or was planning. He's describing the situation as one where Iran seeks a deal, wanted in the worst way, but faces consequences for aggression. He's stating that strikes are being done to degrade threats to civilian mariners. Now, Iran has claimed that there have been U.S. casualties, CENTCOM disputing that, just outright saying that those reports are false, and I believe that they are false. No major U.S. casualties have been confirmed by CENTCOM, despite the claims otherwise by Iranian sources, media. Diplomacy stalled tonight. The memorandum of understanding basically has gone up in flames. along with so much of the Canadian forest. And the ceasefire, which was never a ceasefire, is very fragile right now. Very, very fragile. But don't you worry, because the U.S. military is getting jacked up on testosterone. So there'll be a mighty fighting force of super soldiers. No more high heels. Just Donnie T and the Testes, led by PDT, Mr. Testosterone himself, and old penis head himself, Stephen Miller. Jesus. Oh. Oh, I can't. I just, is this, yeah, it's real. It's a real thing. Oh my God. Oh my God. So I made this. I couldn't help myself. I had to do it. Maverick News, political cartoon, Donnie T and the Testes. T is for testosterone, my fellow Mavericks. I love it when a T-boost comes together. Screening the U.S. military. See, and then you have the American soldiers looking kind of effeminate there. Those are the dudes. That's why they have to come and get their T shot so that they can get all masculinized up and join their rightful place, their birthright in the U.S. military manosphere. Oh, for their gender affirming therapy. Yeah, this is sort of a take, a parody of the A-Team, okay? Just so, in case you haven't clued in. There's PDT in the back. PDT, PTT, Pete Hegseth. Captain Testosterone in the Testes van, the Testes team van. Yeah, I pity the fool with low T. I can't help it. It's too funny. And they're really doing it. Oh my God. Oh God. I don't know. Maybe can I get a little extra?
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals. Defenders of individual rights and freedoms. Credible. Trusted. Grounded in reality. Maverick News. Maverick News. Defending free speech. Free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Too late. Too late. Too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
And hey, you know, like, I gotta hand it to Trump, and like he loves a good war. I mean, he's got his favorites. He got his favorite wars. You know, some are better than others, but I'll tell you what, Gettysburg, oh, that was one hell of a good war. Here he is at the Pennsylvania Defense and Innovation Summit.
This year we're celebrating the 250th anniversary of American freedom, and no state has been more central to protecting that freedom than the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is where America declared its independence, where George Washington crossed to Delaware, where the Union was saved by the heroes of Gettysburg. What a war that was when you read about it.
What a war. That was a good one. What the hell? What a war. That was, I heard that. I was like, what the hell? What a weird president. Oh, he loves a good war.
And where Pennsylvania workers poured the iron and steel that won 2 world wars and won lots of other things in addition.
Good one,
With
too.
today's announcement, Pennsylvania will play a key role in building the arsenal of freedom to defend our nation in the modern world. We have things happening in this state. I think really people don't know what's happening in Pennsylvania. People aren't
nobody
really,
can tell what's real and fake, Donald.
Literally, they're not able to even
Nobody
fathom
knows what's going on in Pennsylvania.
I think really,
I think they might be
people
eating
don't
the
know what's
cats and
happening in
dogs.
Pennsylvania. People aren't really, literally, they're not able to even fathom what's going on. And I'm just saying back there, I thought I was very well aware of it. And then I'm meeting people, very well-known people, and they're saying what they're doing here. We got to get the word out a little bit because this is very much of a miracle, very much of a miracle. Highly respected people. The talent and innovation in this room will keep America safe for many years to come. This year we're celebrating.
We don't know what's going on in Pennsylvania, but Gettysburg was one hell of a good war, and we have to get the word out to let people know that we don't know what's going on in Pennsylvania. But that Gettysburg, what a war. What a great one. There's World War II, but Gettysburg, that was a good one. Okay, maybe I'm making too much of it. Nah, not really. I'll be back.
Maverick News isn't just a news outlet, it's a community of truth seekers. Your donation at freedomreporters.com fuels our mission to report the stories that mainstream media won't touch. Thank you, Maverick family.
Nova Scotia Premier Tim Houston, target of an attack of his own today. Are these like far left protesters? I don't know. These could just as easily be far right protesters, based on the way they're dressed. I can't tell the difference. Yeah, his car, the glass on his car got smashed when this mini mob sort of descended on his vehicle. Here's a CBC reporting on the carnival there. You know, you listen to the report. Don't let it screw with your mind too much. I personally, my take is that this is not as serious as they are making it out to be. It's kind of, it's bad. One person, I think, was charged after some arrests were made. One charge laid against one person. But I don't think his life didn't appear to be in danger. I think these people just kind of got out of hand. But hey, I don't know. This could be the Canadian version of January 6th. You can draw your own conclusion. Here's the report.
What started as the first of Premier Tim Houston's tour of chambers of commerce across Nova Scotia devolved into a massive protest in which his car was surrounded and he required a police escort back into the building in which he had just previously given a speech at Acadia University in Wolfville. Houston was here ostensibly to talk about his vision for the province's economy and how to address what is a record-setting deficit through the efforts of things like natural resource development, offshore wind, and federal defense spending contracts that appear destined to favor Nova Scotia. A variety of issues that they were concerned about, including the environment, cannabis access, library cuts, and other issues surrounded him as he approached his vehicle. Houston sat in the vehicle for several minutes before ultimately RCMP moved him back inside the building where he remains. Houston is scheduled to be in Yarmouth tomorrow for his second stop on the tour. Michael Gorman, CBC News, Wolfville.
Hell no, we won't go. That was actually yesterday, but I highlighted for you tonight. I see some right-wing media saying those are far-left protesters, and I'm looking at them and I'm going, they could be on the other side too. I don't recommend that anybody act like that, but because what you're witnessing there is political theater in public. Not those people acting out like that in order to get attention and intimidate. And then, of course, you know how it works. You've been here long enough. You've been listening to me. You're politically sophisticated enough. You're high information voters. You get it. It's real, but it ain't real. It's all a damn show. Straight out of Central Casting, as Donald might say. Straight out of Central Casting. Boy, we are close, eh? Almost there. Let's see if we can pick up the feed for Donnie T. The testosterone presidency. Oh. How will Trump be viewed through the lens of history? What will be his legacy? What will define President Trump? Okay, we have the feed established. We are ready to rock and roll. Take a short break. We'll be back. We are about 2 minutes out from President Trump's address to the nation tonight.
Maverick News. Fighting for freedom.
Down to the island, first class ride, a handshake. protect the victims. And also Donald Trump. Coincidence? Just dumb luck. Right? Another sealed file. That crocodile smile. We did our best, says the DOJ, while the truth just fades away. Another new spin. No one will win except the rich guys with gold ID cards and closets full of secrets behind steel bars. Just a little glitch. A billionaire's privilege. That's the sound of the case. Closed.
Good evening. Before we begin, I'm proud to report that our country is safer, stronger, and far wealthier than it has ever been before. We are doing great. Less than 2 years ago, we inherited an economic and social disaster. After the worst inflation in 48 years, the wide open borders with millions and millions of people pouring in from all over the world, including criminals of all types, and 11,888 murderers, many of whom killed more than one person. We had transgender for everybody, men and women sports, crime ravaging our cities, and the whole world was laughing at us as a nation, but not anymore. 2 years ago, our country was dead. Now, we are the hottest country anywhere in the world. America is respected like we have never been respected before. We have more money being invested in the United States than at any time in the history of our country. More Americans are working today than ever before. This week it was announced that inflation saw the largest monthly decline in more than 6 years. Just happened. It was just given out. The media reported it, and we accept it. The best in 6 years. The tax cuts in our great, big, beautiful bill are saving hardworking families thousands and thousands of dollars, like with the provisions, no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and no tax on Social Security for our great seniors, along with the interest deduction on a loan used to purchase a car, but only if that car is made in America, and a 100% expensing for our job-creating businesses. Our stock markets are at their highest point in many years, but we can actually say of all time. And your 401ks, pensions, and retirement accounts are setting records every single day, the highest in history. For years, we paid the highest price for prescription drugs anywhere in the world. Now we pay the lowest price under my most favored nation's policy because I was able to get the rest of the world and the pharmaceutical companies to act responsibly. Drug prices are coming down by 70, 80, and 90%. TrumpRx.gov, this will ultimately reduce the cost of health care. You have to go to TrumpRx.gov and take advantage of it. But the cost of health care is coming way down because of what we've done with prescription drugs. And with Trump accounts, every child in America now has access to a tax-free investment account to save for their future. Billions and billions of dollars are being invested, put in by companies and individuals to take care of our children so that at age 18, they will have potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars in their account, and they'll get off to a great start in life. So for that, go to TrumpAccounts.gov and sign up your child or any child who'd like to sign up. Our previously wide open borders have been transformed into the most secure borders in the history of our country, with 0 illegal aliens being admitted to the United States in the past 14 months. That is 0. Nobody thought it was possible. We had the worst border in the history of our country, and now we have the best. Crime is plummeting nationwide with the murder rate at its lowest level since 1900, or more than 125 years ago. We're making a record investment in our armed forces, and we have the strongest and most powerful military by far anywhere in the world. I built it during my first term, and unfortunately, we're forced to use it now. We won in Venezuela, which is now working with us to produce millions and millions of barrels of oil. We are likewise winning big in Iran, and you will see the fruits of that labor very, very shortly. America is back and doing really well, but we still have a major challenge that must be urgently addressed, because no country can be great without fair and honest elections. You have to trust your country, because if there can be no trust, there can be no greatness. And that's very simple. No trust, no greatness. For many years, I've called for bold, swift, and decisive action to protect the integrity of America's elections. Every American deserves to know that when they cast their vote, that vote will be counted accurately in a system, and that is to make that system secure, one where cheating and interference are not just difficult, but virtually impossible. Unfortunately, the system we have today falls catastrophically short of that standard. Tonight, I'm announcing the immediate declassification and release of critical intelligence revealing shocking vulnerabilities in our election infrastructure. This evidence shows that the election system we have dangerously exposes, and really exposes like levels never thought possible, to hacking, exploitation, and foreign interference. Just as disturbingly, this vital information has for many years been covered up and hidden from you, the American people, our beautiful, our great American people. But that all changes right now. The documents we will release starting tonight have been gathered by the White House Government Transparency Task Force, a great group of people, along with the staff of the President's Intelligence Advisory Board, supported by our top intelligence agency chiefs, who have all personally reviewed the findings. We are presenting this evening and fully confirmed their authenticity. You can see these documents for yourself at whitehouse.gov. That's whitehouse.gov. Go check it out. Our purpose in disclosing this information is not to weaken confidence in election, but to earn that confidence by confronting vulnerabilities and correcting them very, very quickly. And that's what we're doing. The documents cover 5 major areas of concern. First, they show that over a period of years, starting during the 2020 election cycle, the People's Republic of China carried out what is believed to be the largest compromise of election data in history, resulting in China's illicit acquisition of 220 million U.S. voter files. That information includes names, addresses, phone numbers, political party preferences, and other sensitive data that would be needed to register to vote and engage in other nefarious activities, which is exactly what was happening. This data loss presents an unprecedented election security nightmare. The intelligence even shows that China assigned a data exploitation unit specifically to this new project. Compounding the travesty, the second set of documents we are releasing reveals that members of the deep state, very, very famous group of people, in many cases, in our intelligence agency work to actively suppress and downplay information about the extent of China's sinister election meddling, covering it up from both the president and the American people like nobody thought was possible. U.S. spy agencies began learning about the compromise of voter registration files in 2020 when they discovered that tens of millions of voter data, think of that, tens of millions of voters' data in 18 states have been bought, stolen, or hacked by China. Yet those responsible for sounding the alarm instead kept the information secret and hidden. They did not disclose to me as president or to anyone else, and to the best of our knowledge, they did not inform Congress. In fact, all they kept saying is, this is the most secure election in the history of our country. A standard, very pat line that was divvied out to say. The cover-up of this colossal security breach is even more disturbing in light of the additional information showing that China engaged in other election-related activities to undermine my first administration and our 2020 campaign. They did not want, and they just didn't want it. They fought like hell not to have it, Donald Trump, to win, and for good reason. As the documents we are releasing show, CIA reporting explicitly stated, and I quote, in mid-2018, the Chinese Communist Party's policy was to leverage all domestic and foreign elements that were opposed to the U.S. president in an effort to reduce the U.S. president's votes and make him resign or prevent his re-election. Isn't that nice? Also, in mid-2018, China was working to influence the results of the U.S. midterm elections and later the results of the 2020 presidential election itself. Separately, in mid-2019, the Chinese government's strategy against the United States was focused on undermining domestic confidence in the U.S. president. They wanted to just make you sound like your president wasn't so hot, when actually your president has done a great job, and they did everything possible to do exactly that. Going on, this document says, and this is by the CIA, the strategy included efforts to use Chinese contacts with big U.S. companies to influence U.S. business leaders to turn against the President of the United States of America. The Chinese government sought to identify U.S. journalists who had reported negatively on the U.S. president and pay them large sums of money to write more negative articles about him, as many as they could, and they didn't care what they said. The Chinese government wanted U.S. president to lose the next election, and the reason they wanted me to lose is because they knew I was wise to them, charged them billions and billions of dollars worth of tariffs, and built the strongest military anywhere in the world. We have the strongest military anywhere in the world. These are exact quotes from the CIA reporting. The name of the person doing the quote is now under review, but it gets even worse. Raw intelligence obtained by the FBI in 2020, yet buried by rogue bureaucrats, stated that China's activities even included an attempt to manufacture illegal ballots for Joe Biden. Documents show that during this period, dozens of significant CIA and NSA reports about China's election targeting were kept out of the presidential briefing. These were briefings I would get almost every day. Everything was kept out that was of importance. One email among intelligence analysts admitted that they had, quote, deliberately massaged the presidential daily briefing to withhold information regarding Chinese activities related to the election. Another official inside the FBI wrote that she was running, quote, a shadow government, unquote, to keep intelligence about China's election meddling from becoming known and to keep it away from the honorable press. Other officials who witnessed such efforts perceived the motivations to be blatantly political. Recently, we found significant numbers of burn bags in formation, and this is a group of bags that were used to destroy information given by President Barack Hussein Obama to be burned. It was supposed to be burned. These bags were supposed to be at a different level by different people, incinerated and checked, but it never happened. Maybe we got lucky. We believe this was not done on purpose, but rather through gross incompetence of the people that were supposed to burn the bags. But the findings are stunning. Today, I'm asking the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, the Department of Justice, the FBI, and the CIA to investigate how and why such crucial information was hidden, to fire those involved in the cover-up, and to file criminal charges, if appropriate, against these people. Yet concealing China's meddling was only the beginning. The third set of documents we are releasing proves that for many years, Americans were blatantly lied to about the security of our election infrastructure, including electronic voting machines and ballot counting systems. Dishonest, almost all. They're vulnerable and they're easily compromised, and people within our government knew that. Tonight, we're publishing a series of previously classified U.S. intelligence community assessments and other reports proving that our government has long known these machines are extremely exposed to attack. As one assessment states, we judge that the United States adversaries, including at a minimum Russia, China, Iran, North Korea, as well as non-state groups, have the capability to compromise U.S. election infrastructure. That's unquote, but that's some statement, isn't it? Made by supposedly great patriots of our country. The document goes on to further state that, quote, we assess that centralized election-related data repositories, such as voter registration databases, poll books, and other official election websites, are most vulnerable to exploitation, and adversaries could use this access to these systems to disrupt audit no matter how deep they went. This intelligence underscores why we must take urgent action to ensure that our own system can never, ever be hacked or compromised like it was in the past. The fourth set of documents reveals that even when significant evidence of fraud has been detected, it has been buried and covered up. Among the disclosures tonight are FBI files detailing evidence of alleged fraud by a large-scale voter registration operation in Michigan. In 2020, Michigan State Police raided a Democrat Get Out the Vote organization, corrupt group in Muskegon. And we're so concerned by what they found. They were just so concerned, they couldn't believe it, actually, that they contacted the FBI in Detroit. The documents state that some canvassers admitted to FBI agents that they signed voter registration forms in other people's names, submitted fraudulent registration for people who did not exist, and received gift cards tied to their number of applications that they produced. In other words, it was pay, play, and cheat. The FBI agents working on the case believe that crimes were committed, yet the Biden Department of Justice slow-walked the investigation and killed it. Tonight, I'm asking the FBI director to ensure that the matter is fully investigated and to work with the Department of Justice to prosecute those responsible for any crimes. Finally, to reveal just how vulnerable our elections continue to be, we are releasing the results of a stunning investigation by the Department of Homeland Security. According to the DHS review, state voter rolls and public records, they identified approximately 278,000 non-citizens who are registered to vote in federal elections. Since Democrat states refuse to share their voter files, the real number is actually much higher than that. Yet, even this limited analysis found more than 250,000 foreigners illegally registered to vote. Put together, these disclosures reveal an election system so broken and so vulnerable that no one can possibly defend it. It is not defensible. Hundreds of millions of U.S. voter files are in the hands of foreign governments. Our machines and ballot counting systems are exposed to hacking and manipulation and corruption. China and other countries have been trying to meddle in our elections. Evidence of fraud has been buried. Hundreds of thousands of non-citizens and dead people are listed and active on the voter rolls. And yet we still have elections with no voter ID, no proof of citizenship, and tens of millions of ballots floating aimlessly through the mail. As one example of the insanity, California's recent election for mayor of LA and governor was held on June 2nd, a long time ago, but it was just completed a few days ago on July 10th. Think of that, much more than 1 month. Took a month to count the votes. I wonder what they were doing. This is worse than any third world country. There's no third world country that has elections like we have. In a rare move, NBC and ABC Fake News have both said that they would not cover this speech. They knew what it was about because of the fact that they don't like the topic, because they know how corrupt our system is and they don't want to reveal it. They and others in the media are part of a plot. They want to continue this fraud for whatever reason. They want to keep it going. They want to protect the radical left. They can't have a great country, and that's true. You can't have a great country without free and fair elections. Fraud like this should mean a revocation of their licenses. They use our public multi-billion-dollar in value airways for absolutely no money. They pay nothing. All we want is honesty in our elections and honesty in reporting. They pay nothing for multi-billion-dollar assets. Great damage has been done to our country. Our elections were left vulnerable to being rigged and stolen, and the trust of the American people was lost. This cannot be allowed to continue. Every American, whether you're a Republican, Democrat, Independent, or otherwise, should be able to agree that we deserve the most secure, honest, and fair election system anywhere in the world. Secure elections should be a partisan, really, we should be together, Democrats, Republicans, Independents, everybody, and it should not be a partisan issue. It should cause to unite us, not to divide us. This should be a cause. We should be united, not divided. In light of the brand new and irrefutable information I have revealed tonight, my administration is in the process of notifying the states whose election data was compromised by the People's Republic of China and many others. We will be working closely to mitigate any harm, and we're taking swift action to ensure that sensitive voter data is better protected so we can never be bought, we can never be hacked, and we can never watch a stolen election again. Tomorrow, the Secretary of Homeland Security will hold a briefing to outline his department's recent work confirming cyber vulnerabilities in our electronic voting systems. They are bad. We're in the process of informing governors, senators, and members of Congress of potential issues in their states. If you look at voting today, it's in such bad shape in so many states, and we are committing to fix it. And we're also committing to be working with those states and local jurisdictions to help them fix and patch known technical vulnerabilities before the midterm elections. We have very important elections coming up. We want those elections to be honest. I've also ordered DHS to notify every state about non-citizens on their voter rolls and direct them to remove all ineligible voters from the lists immediately. But most importantly, addressing this crisis of election security demands that Congress must pass the Save America Act. How easy is that to do unless you want to cheat? The only reason you wouldn't do it is you want to cheat because your policies are so bad and your candidates are so pathetic that you can't get away or can't get elected any other way. This landmark bill requires that all voters must show photo voter ID. How simple is that? Could I have your photo, please? Photo voter ID. All voters must provide proof of citizenship. Are you a citizen of our country, please? And hopefully there will be no corrupt mail-in ballots, which if you watched California and so many other places, mail-in ballots are inherently corrupt. So you would have no mail-in ballots except for illness, disability, military deployment, or travel if you're going away on business or vacation. These reforms are urgently needed to stop the vulnerabilities that I've mentioned. To all Americans, I ask you to pick up your phone tomorrow, call your representatives in the House and Senate, and demand that they pass the Save America Act without delay. Together, we will restore faith and confidence in our country, and we will be bigger, better, and stronger than ever before. Thank you. God bless you. God bless our great military. And God bless America. Thank you very much.
So there you go. The president's address tonight to the nation on voter integrity or election integrity. Starting off the speech with comments highlighting all of his keystone issues, I guess. Immigration, everything that he touched on, not surprisingly, extreme statements. Everything was the worst, and now everything is the absolute best. Didn't matter what the issue was that he highlighted. That's what he was saying. Transgender for everyone, whatever that means exactly. Men in women's sports. America was dead. It's now the hottest. More money is being invested in the United States than ever before. Stock market is up at levels of the highest levels of all time. The worst border to the best border ever. Strongest military by far. And then he also touched on his military victory in Venezuela, but went straight to comment about the oil. It wasn't about a statement about how the people of Venezuela have been freed or anything like that, or liberated in any way. No, now Venezuela is helping the United States produce more oil. But then he got into the nitty-gritty on the election fraud issue. No trust, no greatness, he said, and that's kind of where I was at heading into the broadcast tonight. He says they're going to declassify all of these documents and what I guess 4 different document dumps that are coming up. I did go already to the website where he said these documents will be posted. I have not seen them there as of yet. I'm checking, and I'm still not seeing them on the website. Whether they'll be released this evening, I guess remains to be seen. Could come out at any time, and I expect they will. But so far, not there. Keep an eye on that, even as we progress through this review and analysis of what he just talked about. He also indicated that mainstream media not covering this tonight, and I'm a little surprised, but that should tell us something as well. He's saying, again, this whole thing leaves the country very divided, doesn't it? He's saying it's because the media is corrupt and can't be trusted. Of course, the media arguing that very likely their argument is going to be that they did not cover the speech because he's recycling old grievances and not really providing any new proof. Although these documents may prove that otherwise, I need to see the documents, and it looks like there will be many of them. Talking about hacking, exploitation, foreign interference, specifically targeting China with these accusations. But he also says many others. 220 million voter files compromised. Data exploitation network unleashed by the People's Republic of China, he says. And they obtained somehow 220 million voter files with personal data. Makes me think about what happened out in Alberta and how the separatists managed to get their hands on the voter list out there, voter data, and then used software. They were using software developed by a MAGA-friendly company to exploit that kind of data. Haven't heard too much about that in the last month or two. It was a big issue until we went from potentially having a referendum on separation to having a referendum on whether we should have a referendum out in Alberta, which is coming up this fall. Deep state actors as well involved, he says, I don't know if he means in conjunction with or just in a opportunistic way, taking advantage of the situation that has been created through these security vulnerabilities in the election system of the United States. Was there anything actually new in here? I didn't really hear much in the way of new information, except that it sounds like these are government documents which are supposed to hold some sort of truth, although at the same time, it sounded like some of these documents are reports that allege certain things. He did use the word allege from time to time. If you're alleging something, that doesn't mean that it's absolute proof. It's maybe some degree of evidence, but that would have to contribute to the whole to prove something beyond a reasonable doubt if you're going to take something like this to a conclusion where we put a matter to rest. I think this will, again, just fuel more division in the end, because the other side, the other perspective on this will no doubt find ways to discredit what he is saying. The documents better be pretty detailed and very credible. And yet, for so many years now, people have thrown shade on the credibility of even the CIA, which is one of the key organizations that is contributing to this effort by Trump tonight to expose election fraud. And he's clearly saying that these elections involving the ones with him were fraudulent, saying that the Chinese even engaged at a time at one point in manufacturing ballots for Biden. Talked about those burn bags again. That wasn't anything new. That was recycled information, bringing that out again. If he has documents to back that up, I'm eager to see them. And then there's going to be a third document dump, alleging here tonight that the third document dump will show that the American public was lied to about the security of voting machines, those Dominion voting machines. And we've seen the arguments back the other way already. So we'll see if this new information, if it is indeed new information, finally puts to rest the controversy surrounding the Dominion voting machine issue. And Mike Lindell did not really, in the end, fare well with his campaign to expose the Dominion voting machines as being unreliable and compromised. But still a lot of people with concerns about that, so we will see. But you see, it's not even just the People's Republic of China that he is accusing here. He's saying Russia, Iran, and others can compromise those machines. Does that mean they did or can? And I'm surprised he even mentioned Russia because, of course, he was so damaged by the Russia controversy, or he would say hoax, which has turned out to be not entirely a hoax. There was some truth to it as well. Whether it crossed a line, you will have to decide, a line of legality or integrity, which is something I think that would be a virtue for a president of the United States. Then talked about Venezuela, bringing up Venezuela again, using voting machines there as well. And he's saying that their elections have recent were rigged because of compromised machines. And then in the fourth government document dump that is coming up, he again starts by saying that same thing he said about the third batch will show that there was some concerted, coordinated effort, I guess, to cover up the fraud, the illegal activity surrounding these elections, highlighting an incident or a series of incidents maybe in Michigan involving the Democrat Get Out the Vote organization, which was brought to the attention, he says, of the FBI, and I'm certain there must be some documents about some sort of investigation into that, which will be, coming to light in the days and I assume weeks ahead. This will be much more dramatic for him if he spreads this out over a number of weeks. This is, one of his main issues. It always has been voter fraud, rigged elections. He's the victim. But again, who is telling the truth, the Democrats or Trump? And if all of this is true, then does that justify even what happened on the January 6th, the protest or insurrection, depending on your point of view? And then he's highlighting this allegation of a pay for play scheme or pay for play activities, giving out small amounts to incentivize cheating, I guess, is what the whole idea is. But then, as I said, coming into his speech to preface everything that he said, I said, how does he get off standing up there talking about this when Elon Musk spends $230 some million and then was actually giving out $1 million in prize money to people as there was a contest that he was running during the election, which if someone gives you $1 million, don't you think that would influence the way you end up voting? Well, that's what he did, $1 million. And then we're hearing, again, this is all recycled stuff. The no voter ID, you have to have proper ID. So that's not new. Maybe there will be something, and I don't even see how that would be something that would be proven in documents. That's a matter of, I think, integrity and opinion and policy, really more than anything. So I don't think that's, you're not going to get any revelations there. That's a procedural and policy issue. Changes in legislation would address that, and certainly that's high on his list of concerns. But this is a statement as well that I think Canadians should take note of. He says that the situation with the elections in the United States, the situation is worse than you'll find in a third world country. He says it's worse than a third world country. Meanwhile, he portrays the United States is the greatest country in the world, and Canada should become part of that. And there again, with this kind of talk, why would we want to be part of that? Where you claim to be a free country, you claim that you have so much to offer, democracy of some kind. He talks about having free and fair elections as being vital, integral to maintaining trust, which without that, you really don't have a country. Then he turns around and says that they have an election system that has been so compromised that it's worse than you get in a third world country. And I can tell you right now that the bluster surrounding all of this, the rhetoric, the amplified concerns about it all have bled over the border into Canada. And when I talk to a lot of people up here in Canada, they are of the opinion, many of the people who are Trump followers, that Canada has the same problems with the voting machines. Well, I can tell you without any hesitation and beyond, with no, as a statement of fact, that for federal elections in Canada, Dominion voting machines are not used. We use paper ballots. I know because I've worked elections myself. as a poll supervisor for Elections Canada. You know, they have those jobs and you can apply for those. I did one year. I took the training. I went through the whole thing. There wasn't a Dominion voting machine to be seen. And I ran the largest poll in the whole area here for the one election. So I know. And people are like, well, you did Trudeau wasn't elected. It was rigged because of the voting machines. There are no voting machines. It's paper ballots. There are other issues, but not so much that the integrity of the Canadian elections are compromised. Not in that way. Not if the machines in the States are legitimately, like real or illegitimately being hacked into. It may actually be an issue, but you better bring the receipts. You better prove it. And so far, I'm not sure that they've been able to really do that. We're getting a lot of media spin, rhetoric, but we can't cut through it. I don't know who's telling the truth. I'm not, as much as it might seem to you like I'm taking a side on this, I'm really not. I too only want honesty and the truth out of all of this. The world needs it. But at the same time, if you don't really have that, if these documents don't put this to rest, then he has done the country and the world a disservice by simply rehashing old grievances. And why would he do that? Well, to take your eye off other areas of vulnerability, other things he's doing, like a war in Iran that isn't going well, or maybe the Epstein files, or who knows what other issues will pop up in the days, weeks, months ahead. The stuff that's hurting him at his presidency, especially as we go into the midterms. And I think that maybe this might have something to do with that. The timing seems suspicious to me. Just as I run this through my mind and try to analyze this on the fly. And again, media not covering this tonight. I'm not sure if that was wise or not. And then right here, these kind of statements also concern me coming from the president. He says that when these media outlets, the mainstream media won't cover a speech like the one that he had tonight, wouldn't carry it on their airwaves. He says that their licenses should be revoked. Those are strong words coming from a president. He has a lot of power. It's very intimidating. And so it requires then courage on the part of broadcasters, news organizations, newsrooms, to stand firm and make a decision in defiance of really, perhaps you could say the most, if not the most powerful, one of the most powerful human beings on the planet, with enough power there to really affect the future of any media organization, maybe even its death. Honesty is all we want, he says. Well, that's, I think, what really people in the end really do want, sort of. Not everybody these days. Some people preferring to live a lie. Doing that has not served us well. The People's Republic of China, again, and many others, he said in the end, and many others. That's not very specific. The documents will no doubt be more specific. And then tomorrow, the Director of Homeland Security, he says, will give us some sort of an address. We should get more details at that point. I'm going to the website right now, whitehouse.gov, to see if these documents have been released anywhere. Let's bring it up on the screen. We'll look together. Here's the website. Let's go right to the main page. Home page. It's not here still. Where will it be posted? I don't know. We have news. Let's check the news page. Trump administration unleashes global campaign to crush radical left terrorism. I told you about that yesterday. That's not what we're looking for here. No. Only the one post from today under news. And it won't be in the gallery, the live stream. I don't think it was here. This is not where we took our feed from. Trump accounts, well, we know what that's all about. It's about the accounts for kids. What else do we have? Save America, investments, contact. Not seeing it up here yet. What's media, administration, priorities, get involved, video library, photo, live stream. He didn't say where to go on the website. Let's go to the media page. It's not doing much. First year in office, White House wire. Nothing. Still not there. So let me do a scroll here on X. See if there's anything on over here. Yeah, so Trump announcing the immediate release of intelligence revealing shocking vulnerabilities in America's election infrastructure. We'll do this one together too. Not seeing any actual documents posted yet, so I don't think anybody has them, at least not at the moment. Here's what's happening over on X, the cesspool of info. It's bad because you can't tell what's real over here either. An incubator of all information, good and bad, which makes it all questionable. Well, we know where that came from, and we know what he said because we just watched the entire address. Trump names the culprit China. Documents cover 5 major areas of concern, and we already told you about that. So this is all clipped. Yeah, here's Greg Hetherington, local radio broadcaster, posting a picture of the smoky haze in our community right here where I live. That's what it looks like today. Yeah, and it does seem to be getting worse, as he indicated. It seemed to get better at the end of the day today, but it was really bad midday. I expect we're in for more of the same tomorrow. What else do we have going on? Well, those posts were right off here, so let's go. Trump election. Trump said the release of declassified documents related to election integrity is not meant to weaken confidence in U.S. elections, despite years of insisting there have been irregularities in elections. Critics say he has done just that. Well, that's what I said. If you don't have like the goods, it will further undermine trust and faith in the system. That's CNN reporting. That's not an organization that is friendly to Trump by any measure. Zachary Cohen, the documents Trump is referring to right now, and CNN has reviewed all of them. I don't have them. Largely discuss vulnerabilities that have been known for years and or are reflected in the 2021 U.S. Intel Community Assessment. None of the declassified information supports the claim that any previous election results, including the 2020 presidential contest that Trump lost, were manipulated by foreign interference or fraud in a way that would have changed the outcome. So that's from Zachary Cohen at CNN, saying they have the documents. They've reviewed them all. That's their conclusion. I want more analysis. I want to see the documents. He said to go to whitehouse.gov. It's not there. They've clearly released them to some media. Or maybe they got hacked and they stole the documents they were going to release. Who the hell knows? During 2020 election cycle, China carried out what is believed to be the largest compromise election data in history. That's just regurgitating what Trump said. And there's a pro-Trump Eric Daughtry post just reinforcing what Trump said. Midas touch, critical of Trump. Trump calls for the arrest of those in charge of the country during the 2020 election. Yeah, that in itself can be dangerous, especially if it's not true. But if it is true, then maybe they should be arrested. Are we any closer to the truth? Are we any closer to stabilizing things? Don't think so. Not yet. Russia, China, Iran, North Korea, even non-state groups all have the ability to compromise U.S. elections. He says, a primetime warning that America's election systems are exposed to nearly every major adversary at once. I'm not seeing anything definitive here. Let's see. Pull this down. I'm going to take a short break. Going to come back. I'm going to see if I can get those documents. I will return on the other side of this.
Maverick News isn't just a news outlet, it's a community of truth seekers. Your donation at freedomreporters.com fuels our mission to report the stories that mainstream media won't touch. Thank you, Maverick family.
Okay, I'm still searching. Let's see. Might have them over here. Anybody got him? Anybody got him? Aha. Here we go. CIA note. Okay. Got some. He's only releasing these to pre-qualified friendly media. That's what he's doing. That's why not everybody has them. And select media beyond that. And I think because CNN is so big, so large, so established that somehow they've gotten a hold of them. Although I don't know. It could be that they were denied and they got them from somebody else who had them. Who knows? Summary of select intelligence reporting. This is about Venezuela, though, which is what he was referring to as well. Summary of select intelligence reporting from 2004 to 2020 on Venezuela's electronic voting manipulation capabilities. And this is, I think, about Venezuela's elections. Intelligence community reporting documented persisting concerns about Venezuelan government manipulation of electronic voting systems and the potential national security implications for U.S. election infrastructure. So they're talking about maybe compromised U.S. elections because of Venezuelan involvement. The intelligence established that Venezuelan government officials developed sustained interest and likely some capability in manipulating electronic voting systems, including Smartmatic technology, to influence electoral outcomes in Venezuela, not the U.S. The 2006 intelligence community assessment that Smartmatic's ties to Venezuela posed a national security threat was based on solid intelligence reporting regarding Venezuelan government intent to influence U.S. politics and evidence of Venezuelan manipulation of their own electoral systems. This assessment led to U.S. government action, forcing Smartmatic to divest its U.S. operations in 2007. And in fact, all of this has been reported before. I know it has. Much of it's redacted for reasons unknown. See if I can get any other documents here tonight. Those are not documents. They're just made to look like documents by somebody posting online that's not true. Here's Gavin Newsom, or at least his press office, posting. Let's see what he's saying. Newsom and Trump, they're like oil and water. Tonight, the country watched an old man ramble about an election he lost. Democracy is, capital I-S, under threat, but the danger isn't just from abroad, it's from within. Don't give in to cynicism, don't stay silent, and above all, don't stop voting. That's exactly what Trump and MAGA want. You are the antidote to Trump's madness. Accountability is coming, and the American people will deliver it. Gavin Newsom newsroom, so that apparently coming from Governor Gavin Newsom. Okay, here we go. Declassified emails. I have some here showing the National Security Administration members deliberately hiding intel assessments, it says here. Is it true? What do we have? Declassified by redacted, derived from redacted, declassify on redacted, classification redacted. National Intelligence Office, cyber. I think I mentioned to you, this is an email to somebody, from somebody to somebody that we don't know. I think I mentioned to you before that there is some pending redacted that makes it clear China has been caught conducting election influence. I don't know why that would even surprise anybody, because I've told everybody multiple, many times that all of these countries get involved in one level or another in trying to influence elections all over the world. They're doing it to each other in every election, every time. And this goes on and says, at least that's how it was described to us. Redacted, 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 redacted. But as you scroll up, it says the note that NSA has deliberately massaged our one pending PDB to avoid any direct links to the election. Whoever this person is, emailing some other unknown person, it says, while this is important for your report, I'm sure it also has the potential to be a near-term issue we need to draw attention to. This is a really good example, but by far the only one of what I've been raising since the summer, that the IC is deliberately avoiding mentioning a connection to elections for non-substantive reasons. Obviously, since the redacted isn't released yet, they're holding it until next week. There isn't a PBD, so maybe it won't end up being an issue, but this is a highly irregular way to do things, especially as someone trying to raise tradecraft and substantive objections to the mainline analysis and isn't getting our work incorporated or even mentioned. Another one. Classification redacted, redacted, redacted. All this is redacted. And this is the message saying that they've massaged one pending PDB to avoid any direct links to the election. So they're making it look like, and this may be true, I don't know, that they're massaging things to kind of gloss over the problem, maybe. Okay, so that's again on social media. Let me go back over here. Anything new on this website? I don't think so. So where are they getting the documents? They're being sent to these people directly, not straight to the people as far as I can see, unless I'm missing something. I'm going to go to the chat. Anybody else out there know if these are documents, if they've been posted on this website and I'm just not missing it? If you go to that website, you let me know in the chat if you find them, because I'd like to download them all. Sounds like there are likely to be quite a number of them. Okay, here we go. Yeah, I know this is a friendly account, so he'll have them all. Got this one here. Declassified by DNI Gabbard, Tulsi Gabbard. Not there anymore. back in March. So this is old. This isn't new. This is a National Intelligence Council memorandum. Is this even an official government document? Maybe, I guess it must be. Vulnerabilities in U.S. 2020 election infrastructure. Well, they're highlighting vulnerabilities, but what does that mean? They may be vulnerabilities. I need to read this in detail to determine if they're just vulnerabilities or if they are vulnerabilities that were exploited. And if they were exploited, were they exploited in such a way that it would have actually compromised the outcome of the election in some way? Those are the questions. Simply to post this, that in itself is not conclusive. There may be evidence in here to add to a pile of evidence that should all be taken into consideration. But let me see here. Vote administering systems vulnerable to localized exploitation. Vulnerable. So they're saying these are vulnerable. And this is this one was declassified before. This isn't even new. This is Benny Johnson posting this stuff, but none of that is new. That's been out there for a while. So that's recycled. Was this part of the dump? I don't know. Chuck Schumer tonight going to town on Trump saying, let's check this out. Trump is releasing unverified, meaningless documents to appease his own delusions about an election he lost resoundingly, all while continuing to withhold 3 million pages of the Epstein files. So that's Schumer's position at this point. I'm still reserving judgment because I haven't seen whatever these documents are supposed to be. And now I'm seeing documents coming from pro-Trump social media influencers who are recycling old documents, which don't appear to be part of the document dump, but they're putting them up there likely just to get clicks. Which is in itself kind of, well, it's not a lie, but it's not helpful in any real way. Anything else? This isn't really helping at this point. Yep. Somebody else recycling that old National Intelligence Council report. I mean, that was declassified way back in last March. Not new. Downloaded the declassified intelligence documents proving election fraud in 2020. Absolutely damning stuff from the White House. I think this is probably a joke. That's helpful insofar as it kind of adds some levity to what might otherwise be an explosive situation. Trump dropped a declassified 2020 intel memo on Truth Social, showing adversaries like China had the tools to hit the U.S. voter databases and election systems before the election. This is Mario Knopfel. Okay. He says, the doc warned registration data and poll books were prime targets, exactly what critics have screamed about for years. Now it's out in the open, whether it proves the steal or just serious vulnerabilities. This is why election security is non-negotiable. Well,
register to vote and engage in other nefarious.
Look, it says right there. It was declassified on the 16th of March, 2026. And then approved for release, I guess. All right, so it was declassified, but not released. Or so they say. But then again, it's like, okay, that report, it's a report, highlights vulnerabilities, but it doesn't mean that those vulnerabilities were exploited. And criticism coming from Midas again. We watched Trump's dangerous and deranged speech. See, you don't have to. Here are the moments you need to know about. He openly laid groundwork to challenge the midterms. He claimed our elections were compromised, clearly setting up the justification to tamper with results before a single vote is counted. He said, we'll correct vulnerabilities in our elections. Translation, he told you exactly what he plans to, and finding confidence in him, he did say that, then said he was doing a great job with them back when he made the claim. He couldn't keep his own conspiracy straight. Mm-hmm. He claimed China rigged the 2020 election, this time by getting journalists to write bad stories about him because China supposedly wanted Biden to win since Trump was wise to them. Mm-hmm. He said they found burn bags, which we heard about before. It's not new, from the Obama administration, full of supposedly incriminating material without ever saying what was actually in them. And that's true, too. I've heard a lot about these burn bags, but it's never been clear what that's actually really about. But he's talked about them for years now. Trump said he needs urgent measures to stop our elections from being hacked, citing Maduro's rigged machines in Venezuela in 2020 as his evidence, which is what I just showed you in that other document. Like, it does state even in the document that Maduro was using compromised machines to rig the election in Venezuela, if that's true. And that it might have some impact in the United States somehow, but nothing there that I've seen, at least so far, to indicate that Venezuela was actively involved in compromising the U.S. elections. It says here, he attacked networks for not airing him live, other TV networks, accusing them of being part of the conspiracy to rig elections and suggesting they should lose their broadcast licenses, which, again, I think that is dangerous rhetoric. It's very intimidating, and it's meant to influence, manipulate, and coerce certain kinds of coverage. What he's doing is coercing back the other way, not paying the media outlets necessarily, except he's offering to pay them, with payola, that being, you get to keep your broadcast license. If you don't do as I want, I'll take it away. If you do bad stories about me, I'll get Jimmy Kimmel fired again and take away your broadcast license. He announced he wants to seize voter data from states he's deemed vulnerable ahead of the midterms. Mm-hmm. This was a sitting president, it says here, telegraphing step by step how he plans to undermine the 2026 midterms with egregious lies and conspiracy theories. Open source intel reporting yet concealing China's meddling was only the beginning. The third set of documents we are releasing proves that for many years, Americans were blatantly lied to about the security of our election infrastructure, including electronic voting machines. Yeah, we keep hearing that. Okay, here's John Ossoff, which this is a guy who, in the stories leading up to tonight's address by the president, was identified in media reports because of what Trump is doing tonight as being the on the receiving end, the beneficiary of these fraudulent elections, saying that he was basically elected fraudulently. Here's what he says.
Here's what's going to happen tonight. The world's most famous sore loser will deliver a primetime presidential sour grapes address to pursue his 6-year-old grievances about the 2020 election. Here's what's going to happen.
Is that what happened? Don't know. I don't know. After all this, I don't know. And I don't think these documents that I'm showing you right now, I'm not even sure if these are newly released. National Security Investigations, Department of Homeland Security has initiated multiple investigations related to allegations of non-citizen voting and registration. Review of the first set of public voter files from states that have not utilized the SAVE system revealed Over 250,000 non-citizens are illegally registered to vote in just the 4 states for which public data files have been reviewed. And Trump specifically referring to 18 states where he seems to be is particularly focused, saying that there is particular trouble there. I don't know. Wow. Is this helpful to any of you? I'm going to look in the chat. What's going on over here? Surge, hail to the chief. Get your popcorn, is what Trump said. And Surge goes on, treason laws, very different military now in charge. Elections coming up again in November, says Belovely. Surge 2926, Canada should be very worried. Scroll down. Okay, something more. You're Dragon, maybe because your lip is Canadian. Your IP, it says. Don't know what that means. Belovely, missed the speech tonight. Did he say he would post them on Truth Social? Tricity Lynn, are you looking on the White House page? I'm going to the exact website that he provided there, Tricity, whitehouse.gov. Yeah, the whitehouse.gov page. And he said that would be posted there. And I'm not seeing any of the documents unless I'm not looking on the right page, but I've gone to the news, not there, and gone to releases, not there. So still not there as far as I can see. And he said that's where they would be made available to the public. So I think that's as far as we've got. And I'm not even sure that the documents that we are seeing here tonight being posted, and not very many of them at this point, I'm not even sure that the ones so far we've seen are actually part of the document dump that the president has promised us. Okay, might have something here, but even this, nope. Look, this is the whitehouse.gov social media account on X, and they are saying here, securing our elections is vital to preserving trust in American democracy. Post-2020 concerns led to thorough examinations of voting systems, security, and registrations. Key documents and reports available below. Now let's see. There we go. Election integrity. There's the address. All right, vulnerabilities in electronic voting and ballot counting systems. So now we're up with some of this stuff. I'll tell you what, I need to take a little break. Take this down. Come over here. I'll run this when we come back on the other side. We'll start digging into this a little bit, okay? It's a deal.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals. Defenders of individual rights and freedoms. Credible. Trusted. Grounded in reality. Maverick News. Maverick News. Defending free speech. Free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Okay, are you ready? I got my cans on. That's broadcaster lingo, just to let you know. You have to learn the lingo. That's what they teach you when you go to school. That's the most important thing I ever learned in the broadcasting school. Cans. I got great cans and lots of testosterone. But if you don't have enough tea, your cans get too big. Okay, enough of that. I'm sorry. It's getting late. Shall we just get to it? Okay, let's do that. Election integrity. Get it up on the screen there, Rick. Ensuring the integrity of our elections is fundamental to preserving trust. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. For years, it says Americans were blatantly lied to about the security of our election infrastructure, including electronic voting machines and ballot counting systems. We are releasing a series of previously classified. Okay, well, where are the documents? China's acquisition and exploitation of American voter data. These are statements. These are not the documents. Where are the documents? Over a period of years, starting in the 2020 election cycle, the People's Republic of China carried out what is believed to be the largest compromise of election data in history. Okay, where are the documents? There we go. Bring it up. Let's see if I can open it. Oh my. Getting there, folks, getting there. Let me see if I can unzip this baby. Oh, there's lots of them. Okay. All right, here's the voter records compromised document as a PDF and cannot extract. Because of the way it's named. And there are so many of these files. Okay. Because of the way they've been saved and because of the software on this particular computer, I would need to probably convert these files. Oh, no, we got them. Okay. This one anyway. Declassified by Council. China's cyber activities probably prelude to election espionage. See if I can get it up on the screen for you. Share screen. I'm going to go to a window right there. Okay. There you can see it. Success. What are they saying? They are saying China is probing the presidential campaign for opportunities to tailor collection and gather insight on policy positions on U.S.-Chinese issues. Okay. That's like not good, but it's not unusual. U.S. policy on China is a longstanding high collection priority for Beijing, and Chinese cyber actors have conducted such activity in every U.S. presidential election campaign since at least 2008, according to redacted open source reporting. Yeah, well, I could have told you that. Redacted since 2018, Chinese cyber actors known in the private sector. So you can see here that they're just referring to Chinese activities to gather intelligence, to try and figure out what the U.S. government is going to do in ways that would affect China and probably Chinese industry and so on. So then the larger question then becomes again, I guess, what does that mean? Like, did they actually change anything in the election? I wouldn't say that document proves anything. There's so much of this stuff. We could go on like this for a day or two. Let's see if we can get another one. See if I can zero in on something substantial. Okay, starting again. CIA wire memo. People's Republic of China target. Collection of U.S. voter military. PRC analysis. U.S. voter registration for 6 states. What do you think would be the most? Foreign threats to 2020 U.S. elections, just threats. And we showed you the release there for the massaged documents. Will this one open? Nope. Some of them open, some of them don't. Because of the way they're named. Which means I'm going to have to mess with the files, which I can't really do effectively on the fly. And we've already shown you that one. Here's the 18 states memo. Is it going to open? Yep. No, I thought this was a joke. This is literally, is literally in the document dump. Look at this. I thought that there's like, why would they even put it in? But indeed they have. Look. It really did come from the document dump. I thought the guy was joking. But there it is. Oh yeah, he's declassified everything, all right. This is transparency. Why would you even bother to put that in? But they did. What else do we have? Anything? The White House government transparency document, as it's titled, won't open either. That's appropriate, right? Sensitive government agency. Let's take a look at this one together. We have a transparency document, but you can't open it because we've named it in a way that will make sure that you can't see it. Here we go. There's the document. Okay, this is another new one. Ahead of the 2020 election, China had extensive plans to utilize potential something and cyber operations to sway public opinion against the Trump administration and international opinion against the U.S. government. Yeah, okay. Because that's what they do. The China plans were designed to exploit U.S. societal fissures and vulnerabilities to influence U.S. and other audiences, and by extension, U.S. government decision-making. The plans addressed several scenarios, including military conflict between U.S. and China, as well as other potential crises. The redacted operations themes covered a broad range of topics to exploit what China perceived to be U.S. fissures and vulnerabilities, perceived or real, including gun proliferation, immigration policies, inciting migrant community dissatisfaction with the United States government, instigating demonstrations against the United States government's alleged human rights violations against immigrants, inflaming resentment between anti-immigrant and pro-immigrant communities, and instigating anti-immigration demonstrations. So the Chinese, it says here, this is interesting. says that they have been engaged in activities to actually instigate anti-immigration demonstrations, and also taking steps to then create resentment between people in both camps, the pro-immigrant and anti-immigrant camps. I can see that too. I'm not surprised. I think the States does that too, just in other countries, maybe even in the United States themselves, to get whatever outcome that they want to get, if you get my drift. China had developed capabilities, it says, to project themes on these topics into social media, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and others, as well as mainstream media through a variety of overt and hidden influencers and media contributors. One of the options included gathering information on senior U.S. government officials to influence public opinion of those officials. So Trump is really complaining here about the very thing that the United States government and all governments get involved with anyway, which is social media influencing. And he's saying that this would constitute some level of foreign interference, which is true. But not unusual at all. And it's stuff that the United States does in other countries. And if not the United States, then Elon Musk through X is doing it on a regular basis now. And is it right? No, absolutely not. Is it being done in Canada? Oh, you betcha. Who's doing it in Canada? Probably all of the governments, certainly the United States. And I'd say with regard to the separatist movement, it's the MAGA political movement that is the heaviest hitter in the InfoWar space with regard to the issue of Canadian separation and 51st statism. That's very clear. And it's not even really being hidden at this point. I think it's wrong. It's disrespectful. Is it illegal? Is it ethical? No, not really. But that's the way international politics is played. Law of the jungle, baby. It's back. Rule of law doesn't matter. Respect for other countries, respect for other countries' sovereignty doesn't exist. Even though Rubio, one statement on one issue, he's all for international law and the enforcement of those laws. And then in the next breath on the next issue, it's any kind of international laws are a threat to U.S. sovereignty. These are laws of convenience for the world's most powerful military state. Non-citizens on state voter rolls. Back to the webpage. Again, where are the documents? Non-citizens on state voter rolls. There's the zip file. Let's get them. Actually, there don't seem to be, well, I can't open a lot of these, but if I could, we could probably sift through quite a few of them in pretty short order. However, the inability to open some of these files will just translate into a more focused roundup, as it were, tonight. If I can get the computer to cooperate, and it is not even allowing me to open up the files here now. Isn't that odd? I can't even get to, there we go, okay. Computer's choking on the download, that's why. But as soon as I get past the choking part, there we go. I'm gonna show you. Got to find where I saved them. Be right over here in this file folder, then over here into this subfolder, and then this other one down here. And I have to unzip. There we go. Not that many documents in here, only 2. But will they vote? Will the alien voter registration summary open for me tonight? it has. Okay, here's the Homeland Security document on this one. Bingo. Are you seeing it? Nope, because I have to go there. Now you have the document up. We can review it together. National Security Investigations, Department of Homeland Security has initiated multiple investigations related to the allegations of non-citizen voting and registration. Review of the first set of public. This is actually the document that I showed you on that other page some time ago. So this is part of the document dump. States that protect federal elections. Numerous proactive, conscientious state officials have successfully utilized free services offered by the Department of Homeland Security to assist election officials in identifying non-citizens who have registered and have voted in their states. Unambiguous contrast. This is the conclusion at the bottom of the document, saying there is an undeniable pattern emerging as DHS begins to unravel the horrific damage done by the open border policies of the Biden administration. This sounds like Trump wrote it. States that have adopted alien first policies instead of American first policies have a disproportionate number of non-citizens on their voter rolls. So what's the conclusion of this? Whatever it is, it's a memorandum, a statement. Where's the proof? Okay, so it says proactive save user states, and it has deceased people and non-citizens. In the short time that the enhanced save system has been available to states, 10 of states processed their full voter lists as of June 22nd, 26. A total of 25 different states processed more than 68 million registration records through the SAVE system. DHS has enabled those states to identify over 400,000 deceased registrants and over 28,000 non-citizens who illegally registered to vote. I kind of remember references made to this. Or maybe I'm confusing that with the welfare rules that Musk was digging into when he was still running the Doge purge. I think that's what I'm thinking of. When in reality, he identified files for deceased people that were still in the welfare rules, but because they were deceased, even though they were on the list, it didn't necessarily mean they were receiving benefits. Huge number. And the reason that those numbers were still in that system was because it was so costly and because it was so time consuming at the time to actually have human beings go in and isolate them and then take them out of the system. It was just, I think, deemed to be more efficient and economical year over year over year to just leave them there, and the problem just continued to fester. But it was sort of something that was in the system but not really harming anything, but highlighted as a huge problem because it had the appearance of being some major scandal when in reality it wasn't quite what it was being made out to be. This one need more info, even though I've got the document. I don't have enough information to give you a really valid assessment of it. Voter registration database threats. Is there anything in here? Maybe. I got this one to open, no problem. Let's go over to this. Almost done for the night with this stuff. Okay, go to the window and bang, there it is. Here's the document. Get it up on the screen for you. I believe this is it. Recently declassified records reveal that China breached multiple state voter registration systems, prior to the 2020 election. Unfortunately, this is not a new phenomenon. Unclassified reports from the last decade reveal that statewide voter registration databases are attractive targets for foreign adversaries. Hackers have attempted to breach voter registration systems in all 50 states, with confirmed successes in at least 20 states. However, experts have routinely minimized the significance of successful voter registration breaches and the exposure of sensitive personal data and for voter verification. This failure to identify and accurately describe potential threats makes U.S. elections less secure. So they're reporting on some successful hacks, they're reporting on vulnerabilities, but is there any conclusive evidence that any of that was used or resulted in a distortion or compromise of the electoral outcome? History of voter registration system breaches. Below are examples of unclassified reports of breaches of voter registration databases in the last 10 years. So none of this is new. Russian government cyber actors attempted to identify and exploit SQL database vulnerabilities in web servers and databases. Yes, we know all that. That's old. Russian actors hacked the website of a state board of elections and stole information. This is 2016. Russian actors hacked into the computers of a U.S. vendor that supplied software used to verify voter registration information, 2016. And this is all, as it stated, this particular information within the document, already public anyway. Potential avenues for exploitation. Obtaining absentee ballots, altering voter registration information. Where's the proof that any of this was done, and if done, on a scale that it would have changed, altered the outcome of the election? Any election. Data breaches generally. Over the last decade, millions of Americans have had their personally identifiable information leaked in data breaches that are not related to voter registration but compromise election security. So you better tighten up the security on your digital systems. Conclusion: voter registration databases are the foundation of our voting system. State and local election officials must prioritize system security and implement safeguards to prevent the exploitation of data that may have already been exposed. Adopting modern security enhancements, such as smart network monitoring and multi-factor authentication, can limit the risk of fraud and election disruptions. The Department of Homeland Security is charged with protecting the nation's critical infrastructure, including election infrastructure, and all state election officials are encouraged to collaborate with DHS on this important mission. So in the conclusion, they're not coming out and saying anything like the system was compromised, they got this data, and as a result, the election was flipped. They're just pointing out again a vulnerability here, but to what degree was it exploited? I don't think they don't get into the nitty-gritty on it, the details that get us to any kind of a helpful conclusion. And I think at that's about the sum of what I'm able to open at the moment. And some of those documents, key ones that other people have opened and posted online already. Of course, I'm a one-man band here at the moment, so it's going to take some time for me to get any of that other information isolated and then posted on social media. I'll try to do some of that maybe tonight. And but the value was already offered up, coughed up right here. We did it together. We finally found the documents, went through it all. I'm going to check in the chat tonight and see what you guys are thinking. Any thoughts in the chat from the Maverick gallery tonight? But lovely. As long as we hate each other, they good. Yeah, that's true. Says a lot of people in the U.S. do not watch influencers. Really? My parents don't. They're kind of an age where they don't go on the internet that much to do this kind of thing at all. But younger people, I think, generally do. I don't know. Maureen, all good, whatever that means. This conversation was something else. Electricity Lynn posted the link to the page. That's fine. And sort of, I know there's a no link policy in the chat, but I stated what it really is, and this is where we want everybody to go. So I'm cool with that one. That's fine. Trying to be not a tyrant. That's been my thing. I'm actually tolerant to a fault, I think, a lot of the time. Yeah. That's where we're at, guys. Any other final thoughts in there in the chat before I sign off tonight with everybody? Man, it's been a long broadcast. Now almost 10:45 p.m. on this July 16th, 2026. Was there a big bombshell tonight? I don't sense it. I don't see it. I'm not hearing it. You know what I'm going to do just before we go? Let's check some of these mainstream outlets. Let's go to first the Kanakistanian side. Is CTV running anything about this tonight? How big of a deal was this really? I don't think it was that big of a deal, is my initial assessment. It feels very much like rinse and repeat. Here's the CTV website. They're still on the wildfires, and it looks like there was a teenager who escaped in a boat. Yeah, a lot of people, I think it's White Sands First Nation, fleeing the fires there by small craft. Thousands of people in northwestern Ontario have been forced from their homes due to the fast-moving wildfires, and many more told to be ready to leave as strong winds threaten to further the spread of more than 60 out-of-control wildfires, 100 and somewhere in the range of 140 in Ontario alone, over 800 Canada-wide. The smoke just choking everybody on the Canadian and U.S. side of the border, as the smoke doesn't care about anybody's sovereignty. Let's go to global news. Sovereignty comes with responsibility. Yes, U.S. lawmakers, Canada and the wildfires. Let's go to NBC. Yank this one down. Okay, they have a story about this. So let's see what the mainstream media that wasn't going to broadcast this thing or cover it is now saying about something that they are covering. Trump alleges broad conspiracy about compromised elections. Here's the main story. The page is up. You can see it. Trump declassifies the documents to fuel claims of China's interference in 2020 election. Okay. So, yeah, they're saying that he delivered the speech. He says he's declassifying the documents. He's repeated the claim, it says here, without evidence that there was widespread election fraud 6 years ago when he lost to President Joe Biden. And then talks about the Save America Act on NBC. Trump again pushed for Congress to pass legislation that would require proof of citizenship to register to vote and voter ID at the polls. The bill faces long odds of passing Congress, where it lacks sufficient Republican support in Senate and faces vehement opposition from Democrats. It looks like they did actually cover it. Maybe not live. Here's a report just highlighting what was going on at the White House. It says there were about 55 people inside the East Room for Trump's speech, including J.D. Vance, the White House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche, Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy, and Energy Secretary Chris White. Donnie T and his merry band of You know what? The second row included Homeland Security Secretary Mark Wayne Mullen. Okay, so it's just the who's who of like Trump's gang. There's a picture of them. Well, okay, whatever. Has this changed anything tonight? U.S.-China relationship may be impacted by Trump's speech, so says this. I don't think so. President's speech could potentially strain relations with China. Like, maybe, I guess, yeah. Ahead of a planned visit by Chinese President Xi Jinping to the U.S. Trip is scheduled to take place this fall. This is in the news cycle for the next week. People sort of forget about it. Unless there's something more substantial that comes out of this, and in some way this leads to actual arrests or a court case of some kind. And I wouldn't hold my breath. So much of this stuff with Trump, it's like, lock her up and we're going to arrest these people, and nothing happens. Very little happens. Very little on that in that way happens. So, Is it something, or is it a big nothing burger? My take is it's a nothing burger. However, we will see what tomorrow brings, and we'll see what these future document dumps bring. This is only the first in a series, but it already has the feel of disclosure, full disclosure. Did we actually get that? Are you any closer to really knowing the truth about aliens and UFOs? Is this performance tonight and promise of future truth, future disclosure, is it any different? Feels very, very much the same to me tonight. On this July 16th, 2026. I will be back tomorrow. Hope you all come back and join me on the flip side.
I heard old Cosmo howling last night up on the hill where the moon shines so bright. He was singing a tune, lonesome dogs cry about freedom, running and touching the sky. If I leave here tomorrow, would you still remember me? Cosmo's like it's never heard a bird. A heart full of love and a spirit so free. He's living his life wild and carefree. He's got the stars in his eyes, the wind in his fur, a tail that wags like it's never heard a blur. Cosmos on a journey, he's got no chains. He's running through fields, breaking all the lanes. Boom.